It is the 41st millennium. Mankind battles for survival across the universe, besieged on all fronts by the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. One faction of Space Marines stands amidst the chaos, the mightiest of the Emperor's warriors, and a beacon of light in the darkness. This legion, the 9th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Blood Angels.
Hello guys, good evening, good evening. Good evening. How's everybody? What's happening? We get some new Space Marine point costs. I'll just put them over the top of chat. If you have a question about the Space Marine point costs, we can get into it. They came out earlier today. If you've not checked them out, I think it'd be worth checking out the new Space Marine points cost, right? So yeah, good evening everybody. There's supposed to be a live game today, but Andrew bailed on me. I'm not too mad because honestly I hadn't really checked the Warhammer community site until like 6 o'clock, and then I checked it and the points costs were out, and I was like, oh shit, I could have played with the new points costs. But hey ho, you know, shit happens, it's fine. You know, nothing to be angry about. Yes, so new points costs are out, and as I say, I don't really know if anything overly changed. Someone in chat's going to tell me. Someone in chat is going to tell me what the big changes are and what we need to be aware of. I don't think it's like... Yeah, I don't think it's anything like crazy. Like, there's nothing that's going to have changed that's going to blow up the meta or anything like that. A few things have changed, but nothing major, I feel like. So, I was going to say, I think I'm just going to start by throwing a bit more paint on this Ballistus Dreadnought. This Ballistus Dreadnought is very likely to be in my tournament list. And, yeah, good evening. So, Hadley, good evening. Miles, what's happening? I think we're going to play next week, Miles. I think that's the plan. So me and Miles will duke it out next week. What are you playing at the moment, Miles? Is it Imperial Guard? You have a question if the Ballistus Dreadnoughts are any good. I can't believe that you've not played a Ballistus Dreadnought at this point, Rezio. Like, I don't believe it. Because I've been playing them since they're 170 points. They're now 140. David says, I managed to add a whole extra character to my army compared to the start of extra 10th. Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if you only managed to add one character since the start of 10th, honestly, because it seems like the Space Marine points costs have gone down multiple times now. Glenn's in the house, Glenn Mayo. Welcome, Glenn. Don't think we've said hello before. How are you? Dark Ginger, what's happening? Like I said, sorry there's not a game tonight. It had been my plan to do a game tonight, but it's fine. I'm hoping to get the Space Marine Codex on Saturday, and I'm hoping to get, maybe this weekend if I get time, I'm going to do an extra video where I talk about like the most competitive State of Sanguinius? It is the State of Sanguinius, the Sons of Sanguinius list. Because I think the Sons of Sanguinius' lists have been getting... They've not been getting much love on my channel, to be honest. I think StatCheck released a video last night that said Sons of Sanguinius is apparently one of the worst factions in the whole of 40k at the moment, with a 38% win rate. So I mean, I've not been playing them because I kind of felt like they're very, very poor. They're going to get hurt even more with the Oath of Moment nerf, but I'll do a video this week on Sons of Sanguinius, so if you're staying true and you're fighting the good fight as Sons of Sanguinius and you've not yet tried Gladius, then I'll have a video out for you. Scouts are still at 55 points, 11 points per model. I haven't seen the new datasheet for the Scouts. I guess we'll see that on I guess we'll see that, the new datasheet for Scouts on the release on Saturday, I guess, right? Todd says, can I share a list after the stream? Of course you can, Todd. Just make sure, ideally you've got the new points cost, because it's I don't want to say it'll be a waste of my time, but if you submit a list with the old points costs, then it won't be ideal. So make sure you've got the new points costs. You can download them right now off Warhammer Community, and then yeah, you can submit a list as soon as it's done, no problem. So Miles is painting Imperial Guard for next Wednesday. Okay, so I got to crush Imperial Guard again. I can't imagine you run as much indirect fire as Andrew, so it won't be quite as an obnoxious list, but I'm sure it'll be a good list. I've got the Thunderstrike on my desk here as well, because I thought maybe if I was going to say I might have to make a small change to my list. I might have to take the Thunderstrike, we'll see. My list actually did not change in points whatsoever. It stayed exactly the same. I think the Ballistus went down, the Chaplain went down, and the Repulsor went down, but then Fire Discipline went up, and the Aggressors went up. The new Jumpy Boys are priced at 85 points for 5, everything else is fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd run the new Jumpy Boys at 85 for 5. What do you think, Seraph Song? I mean, they just have chain swords, right? I guess they do a couple mortal wounds, maybe 2 or 3 when they charge. Is that worth 85 points? Hello Sam, good evening. Drizzle said, just check my list and I've got an extra 30 points. It's always nice when that happens, right? It's the absolute worst when it goes the other way. And it's like, once again, Games Workshop have bumped Sanguinary Guard up in points. Someone in chat earlier, or someone in the Discord earlier was like, Blood Angel's win rate is so bad they're going to have to drop Sanguinary Guard to 22 points per model. And I was like, yeah, okay, if they drop Sanguinary Guard to 22 points per model, then I'm on board with running some Sanguinary Guard. That sounds pretty dope, but I can't see it happening. But, I mean, the win rate of our Blood Angels at the moment is through the floor. It's very, very bad. 38% apparently for... And Gladius isn't even doing that well either. Gladius detachment is at 46%. So it's not brilliant, but I mean, that's a good... I was going to say, that's a good 20% higher, relatively speaking, than the Blood Angels detachment. Miguel's asking, are we all painting the same model? To be fair, Miguel, I have run this guy in like 10 live battles on the channel. I've just been really slow at painting him. And I was running him at 170 points. Mainly because I hadn't bought a second Gladiator tank, I guess. But that's the thing, like, I didn't rush out to buy a second Gladiator tank because I was a little bit worried that Gladiators would get nerfed, and the same thing happened last edition, right, with the Relic Contemptor Dreadnoughts. They were like super good, and then they got nerfed. It was like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, something like that. I can't remember the exact wording of that quote. Chainswords and a couple of impact hits, and they go fast. Do you like them? Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, I bought 5 of them, so I'm not against trying the new jump units. I just think if I'm trying to think, like, because they're only 85 points, and Death Company with 5 Thunder Hammers is 130, so technically they're like, what, 60% the cost of the Death Company? So maybe then you could run a couple of squads of Jump Intercessors and it would be competitive, and lose some of your Death Company and run them in a different sort of style. I mean, that sounds like it could be feasible. I guess I'll have to try them. Why did Andrew he didn't chicken out in playing, man. He's got chest infection. So I don't know, I think he left work early. I'm not sure how well he was feeling, so it happens. My bot gonna read it?
Yeah. Lorenzo donated €5 via Super Chat. Brutalist as mortals on heroic intervention, by the way, winking face. I'll use Assault Centurions in 2 weeks. How do you feel with them? Do they survive and kick Enort?
You know, I never even thought about the Brutalis doing mortal wounds on the charge. What's the exact wording? I mean, honestly, I haven't used Heroic Intervention. Like, I know that any unit can Heroic Intervention for 2 CP. Thank you so much for the €5, Alunda. I really do appreciate the super chats. They've been a bit slow as of late, so thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've never really used heroic intervention. You know that. I don't know why I haven't used heroic intervention. Maybe that's just like a side effect of melee not being as good as maybe we thought it was. But I mean, I guess if you're running Death Company Intercessors, you get free heroic intervention. But I haven't really been using heroic interventions within my games. I've barely even been using combat interrupts, which is a big change to last edition, right? But yeah, I suppose if it counts as a charge move, then the Brutalis Dreadnought could do mortal wounds on its heroic intervention. I guess that's a cool way to do a charge and do mortal wounds. Not sure how often it comes up, but I guess if it comes up, it's decent, right? Assault Centurions for me have been good. I like them inside the well, I was going to say Land Raider. I run them in a Repulsor. It would be better if you had them in a Land Raider. I just don't have the points for the Land Raider on my list. But, no, I like Assault Centurions. I think the thing about them, if you only run 3, because I only run 3, you need to be prepared for... Well, they don't do very well unless you're fighting monsters and monsters and vehicles, because that's when they get their sustained hits too. And then, because I'm only running 3 and I'm in the Gladius detachment, I don't really have weight of attacks. I only get 9 attacks out of them. So you really are reliant on getting a bunch of 6s if you're running them in Gladius. So I think in Gladius, your choice is you need to be backing them up, or you need to be Oath of Moment in that target. And I run mine with the Flamers, but I could see a case to argue that the Meltaguns are the best way to run them as well, because the Flamers have been kind of underwhelming. Twin Link Flamer is fine, Twin Link Bolter I guess is fine, but it's not amazing. But yeah, no, the Centurions have done well for me overall. They haven't been like a standout. There's a couple of times they have stood out. Like, I've played them in like 10 games now. There's a couple of times where they've done a boatload of damage because I rolled a boatload of 6s. But they also had a bunch of times where they just bounced off enemies. So I think you just need to be aware of 3 Centurions can kind of be a little bit swingy. But I mean, they are durable now. They're much more durable than they were before because they're T7. But I think the thing I like about the Centurions is they're so friggin' slow. They only move 4 inches, right? So you need to... I feel like you need to be in the Gladius detachment to get the pluses or the advance and charge, right? Like, I don't know if I like them in the Blood Angels detachment. I mean, I guess arguably they would do better in the Blood Angels detachment because they got more strength, more attacks. But it's slow, man. 4 inches is like... When you're trying to get into charge range and you only move 4 inches, it's friggin' painful. Like, it's so painful. Like, it's weird that 4 inches doesn't sound much worse than 6. But trust me, it's horrific. Drizzle says a few unique things we can bring in a Gladius detachment don't seem to match up to the character bonuses the Smurfs get. I think Smurfs are probably just a little bit above us right now. But if you think about it, Smurfs essentially have their codex, right? We don't have our codex, we're using index rules. So maybe when we get our codex, I don't know if I feel like Smurfs are miles ahead though. Like, I'd be quite interested to play Ultramarines. I think Blood Angels have the tools to beat Ultramarines. I think there might be some like problems. Maybe like Guilliman could potentially cause a problem, and I suppose Marnius Calgarn as Victrix Guard could potentially cause a problem. But I do think that you would be able to beat Ultramarines. Might be a close game. Go for it, what's up? Good evening. Heroic Intervention is crap now. You only get to fight first. You do not get to fight first, and you can only heroic the charging unit. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not seemed to come up all that much for me. But I've been playing much less melee units. Like, I run like a couple of... Well, I mean, my list at the moment is melee-wise was like Blade Guard Veterans, Death Company, and Centurions, and I guess you could argue the Aggressors. So I only got 4 melee squads, whereas before in my list last edition you probably had 10. So because you just have less than half the number of melee squads, in some ways you end up needing to do combat stuff less, I guess. The Brutalis is the only reason to do Heroic Intervention, says Lunda. I mean, maybe. I still haven't built my Brutalis Dreadnought. I think it'll be great in that Firestorm detachment, by the way. But I do think that Firestorm detachment has weakness. I was actually filming a video on that Firestorm detachment last night, talking about like what units are good for it and all that sort of stuff. So I've got that coming out this week. I was working on the video last night as well for like the Sons of Sanguinius army list. Like the best one I can find, the one that I think is probably the most competitive that I can find right now. So I've got that video coming. I've got the Firestorm detachment video coming. And then depending on what my weekend looks like, I'll try and maybe do a stream with the new codex. My wife's out twice on Saturday. Obviously the new codex comes out on Saturday. But hey, sometimes in Scotland, honestly, it takes forever for them to get Games Workshop to get the stuff to Scotland. I don't know why it takes so long. Scotland, we're like a third world country or something in terms of the postal service. It's just terrible. So, you know, maybe I won't even get the book. Remember how long I had to wait for Dante? I had to wait like 3 months for Dante. Ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know if I'll even get my stuff on Saturday. I mean, it was all pre-ordered on the first pre-order day. What is the current good list for Blood Angels? If you want to go Sons of Sanguinius, that's a video I'm working on right now. I don't have it ready to share, but it will be shared within the next week. Is that good enough? If you need it right now, you could DM me on Discord and I could send you the slides I made last night, but like the video isn't ready to go. But I mean, the slides is only half the information. I guess you kind of want, or maybe you don't want me talking over the top of it. But yeah, talking over the top of it and explaining it. Gilliman is not good. Ultramarines player here. Calgar is a beast. Why is Gilliman not good at the moment, Andreas? I thought he can do double Oath of Moment. I guess Oath of Moment's changing a little bit, so it's not as good as it was. Hey guys, if you're enjoying tonight's stream, please hit the like button. It does really help me out. Yeah, we get 31 people watching. We get 13 likes. So a few more people could hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. Bahamut says, so do you think that Marines Plus chapters will get locked out of these base Marine detachments when their books come out? I don't think that's their intention, to lock people out of these detachments. I really don't think that's their intention. I think in fact it's quite the opposite. I think the Games Workshop did not like it. Could be wrong here. But I think they didn't like it last edition when there was times where like people were just saying like my army or my Space Marines just stink, right? Because that doesn't do anything for anybody, right? Like I'm trying to think who were the worst. Well, Imperial Fists. They were absolutely the worst last edition, right? They were like 27% win rate. I mean, I was going to say, I don't know why it was so low, but maybe it was because like nobody played them except Chapter Master Valric, right? And he just kept getting beat. I actually don't think he even played. I think he went to one tournament with them and did not bad. But yeah, Imperial Fists were super low last edition, right? They were losing. I honestly think their win rate was like 27%. It was tragic. It was like, and if you were an Imperial Fist player last edition and that was your army, that's got to have been depressing. Like that's just got to have been depressing that your army is that bad that you lose 3 out of 4 games. And that's if you're a good player. If you're a bad player, you're probably losing even more, right? Because that'll be statistically, you know, like that's the statistics of all people playing. So if you were a bad Imperial Fist player last edition, you were just getting stomped on probably like 9 out of 10 games, and there was nothing you can do. So I think they purposely made these changes so any Space Marine player can play any detachment regardless of colour scheme, which means nobody gets upset, nobody quits the hobby because their army list sucks or their thing sucks, right? So I think I will be super surprised at this point if they then decide to say like, yes, Blood Angels can no longer do any of the detachments in the base Space Marine book. I don't think they're going to do that. I really don't think it's going to happen. I think it's kind of like a conscious decision of GW to not do that. Which I think is probably for the best, right? Because sometimes they make a mistake and they release a codex that's super underpowered, or they release a detachment that's super underpowered, and they've got other detachments to get to. They don't want to be sitting there trying to fix this other detachment that's broken for 6 months, 12 months, I don't know, however long, right? The Firestorm detachment looks pretty interesting. I think the Firestorm detachment looks really interesting too, Scoops. and I've been doing a video on that where I was like breaking down I was breaking down all the stratagems, how you could use them, what units you could combo with them. I think the detachment does have a small weakness or two, maybe. Spoiler, it's all in my video coming out this Friday, so stay tuned for that. I was going to say, I think I'm like 90% finished with that video, but yeah, no, I think I think we'll see a lot of people play Firestorm Detachment. I really think it probably is going to rival Gladius. It might even end up with a better win rate than Gladius. We'll have to see, right? And Mohammed's saying you could use the Firestorm for Salamanders. I think anyone could use the Firestorm. There's loads of stuff you could do with the Firestorm. Even like Death Company with Hand Flamers could be good in Firestorm. There's a lot of units that could get a lot of benefit from the different strats and abilities that Firestorm gives. And it's kind of a neat one where it's just like your whole army is just going to be advancing and shooting in every turn. So you could mix up a good amount of armor and vehicles and infantry, and you could just be advancing everywhere and shooting everywhere every turn. I like the Firestorm Detachment a lot, actually. I'm not sure I'm going to rush out and play it. I might have rushed out and play it if I wasn't planning to go to a tournament in literally, I was going to say, it's like 5 weeks from now. So if I didn't have a tournament 5 weeks from now and I kind of want to just keep focusing on the list that I've been working on for the last 3 months or something and take that to a tournament, I might rush out and play the Firestorm. Because I think it is pretty cool. And I think it will be strong. Like 100% think it will be strong. I think the Firestorm's better than Lightning Storm. So distinct chapters are just better Marines. I think distinct chapters essentially is going to mean that you get distinct units for that chapter. But for all intensive purposes, yes, you are just Space Marines. I mean, we kind of knew we were just Space Marines anyway, right? People could argue that you're going to lose your chapter flavor a bit, and I think people are already kind of arguing that about like the ongoing Firstborn removal and stuff like that. But I guess the way that to look at it is, if you were a chapter that has unique flavor, has unique units, you get to hang on to them as much as you possibly can, and you can use them to create lists that those other chapters can't. A good example is, like, I think the Blood Angels Librarian Dreadnought is like a top tier unit. I think it's so handy. And so, you know, none of the other chapters will have that. So you could be running Firestorm, but you've got Librarian Dreadnoughts teleporting units around all over the board to get maximum value out of Firestorm. So I think you have to try not be upset that maybe some of your flavor is gone, because hey, if you're going to get upset that your flavor is gone, well, it's too late. All the flavor is going away, right? Like I've been upset about... what have I been upset about? I've been upset about the Firstborn removal. I've been upset about my units going to Legends. I mean, I could still be upset about those if I wanted to, but what's the point, man? I mean, they're gone. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing I was saying, and I don't know if you caught my video in the podcast the other night, was the thing I was saying is maybe we might get another season like the Arcs of Omen season, where they just let you run anything and everything, you know, like the end of the edition. So maybe that's something to look forward to. Like at the end of the edition, they just go, you know, everybody can run everything that they want to run and just try and have fun and stuff like that. So, yeah, maybe that's how it is. Campbell, good evening. Nice to see you. It might be weird, but I quite like the Raven Guard detachment. That's the one that makes everything -1 to hit and gives you cover. I mean, that's certainly like one that just adds a lot of durability to Space Marines. I haven't actually checked out all the detachments yet. I was kind of... I don't know if I was waiting for the Codex, but I didn't get an early access copy of the Codex or anything like that. So I've just been... Hopefully mine's coming on Saturday, same as all you guys. So I have checked out a few of the detachments. I have checked out the new points costs. They're on the screen if anyone wants to ask anything about new points costs. If you boot up the Warhammer app, your list should have gone down in points if you had a list built in the app. And yeah. And if you didn't use the Audible links that I linked yesterday in the community page, and you haven't signed up for a free trial for a while, you can get that new Flesh Tearers audiobook for free as well. So if anyone wants the new Flesh Tearers novel for free, I'm probably going to sign up for it as well. It's funny actually, because my wife just upped an Audible subscription this morning. And I was like messaging her, I was like, what's this $10 on my credit card? And she's like, oh, I just signed up for Audible. I was like, you could have literally used my referral link and I could have literally given you the $10 back. So, but yeah, Audible free trial is available again. They do it every year basically. So if you haven't had an audiobook in the last year, you can get another one for free. They basically reset your free trial every year. And I do want to read the new Flesh Tearers book. Apparently everybody's very grumpy in it, and Sellers was saying that there's a lot of infighting. So sounds like it could be an interesting book. I think it's... I posted it on the community page. I forget the name of it. I'll probably get to it. Primarch should be available to all chapters. I mean, they did that for Arcs of Omen, Campbell, and I thought it was a pretty good season, actually. I liked... Well, obviously I made a custom Gilliman proxy model thing. Ran it. I did run it to a tournament. I actually really enjoyed running Gilliman to a tournament, more so than I thought I would. Because it started almost like a joke, where it was like, oh, Gilliman can run for Blood Angels, and this might be quite good. But then I actually really enjoyed it and almost didn't want to drop it. But I like doing things differently. I don't know many Blood Angels players that were running Gilliman to a tournament in 9th edition, you know? I just want, I think, when I think about my army lists and stuff, I just want it to always be that there's like various choices. Like I kind of hate, you remember the season when Armor of Contempt came out and every single Blood Angels player ran, I think it was like 3 squads of Death Company, 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, and there was no variance in anyone's list. Oh, and 3 squads of Assault Marines, that was it. I was going to say Assault Intercessors, no, it was Assault Marines. So everybody ran just like 30 jump units, or maybe not quite 30, but just everybody ran like 30 Sanguinary Guard and like 25 Death Company and 20 Assault Marines. I found that kind of really boring. Just because it was like, I knew it was the strongest list. Like, it was really hard to argue. Obviously, Jack Harpster won the LVO with that list. So kind of knew it was the strongest Blood Angels list that anyone could field. But when you've got a YouTube channel and people submit lists to you every week, and 99% of the lists are the same iteration on that list, I think it's very boring. And while I totally understand people want to run a strong list, they want to go to a tournament and win stuff, like, by all means, I want to go to a tournament and win stuff. I do it all the time. I also don't love conforming to the masses, I guess. So, it's interesting, I guess. Like, I would like it to... I think my main thing was, like, I would like there to be more than one competitive build for a faction. Because I think if there's only one competitive build for a faction, it kind of breeds stagnation, maybe a little bit. And I think that's what we got last edition with... Sorry, I painted a Redemptor Dreadnought a few years ago now, and I can't remember what parts of it I painted silver. So I'm literally just looking back and forth as I block this guy out, because I just want to copy it. I just want my... I want the armor legs and the armor pieces to look very similar, so I'm just copying one of my old models. I do that from time to time. I'm sure you guys have done that before. I like the only mounted character in the base codex is the Biker Chaplain. Yeah, it's a little bit sad that that Lightning Storm detachment Bahamut seems a little bit off, because, like, it's funny, they gave them a stratagem that they can use on mounted units to give +1 to wound, while the only mounted character you can attach to a unit already give +1 to wound. So it's like, I'm not entirely sure about the Lightning Storm detachment. I don't think it's good for White Scars. Maybe Death Wing or maybe Space Wolves can get some value out of it. But I really don't like the Lightning Storm detachment at all. I don't think it's strong. Kevin says, have you considered giving Combi Weapon Lieutenant a go in your list? I feel like it adds a ton of value. That's the Tyrannid War Veteran guy that is a lone operative, right, Kevin? Is that correct? The new one that was in the I keep wanting to call it the Indomitus box, the Leviathan box. That's what we're talking about here. Oh shit, that's not supposed to be grey. I'm gonna wipe that paint off, hold on. That bit's supposed to still be red. Oops. That's not perfect. I'll have to just put red over it after. If you got a green name and you're a member of the channel, in the chat box there's a big $sign underneath, and that means you can do a free super chat once per month. You get to do that every month because you're a channel member. You guys as our members are super appreciated. So if I miss your question and it's important, obviously I saw Kevin's question there, but I'm just saying, if I do miss your question and it's important, please feel free to use your free super chat, and I'll try and make, and that goes for the live streams as well, like when we're playing games and stuff. If you use your free super chat, we'll try and make sure you get read out on stream and get your question answered. But yeah, it gives a priority target to an objective marker, and you get to reroll 1s to wound against anything on it. And he's pretty cheap, right? He's like 50 something points. I guess like if you were in a battlefield where you kind of know you're going to end up fighting over the middle objective or something, Kevin, I feel like he could have quite a bit of value. You're probably right, at 55 points he could be worth trying. I think where I'm at with my list right now is I've played like 9 games and I've been iterating on this list, and I've got this GT coming up in like 5 weeks time, so I'm probably not going to make too many big iterations in the next 5 weeks. I'm going to keep playing the list that I know, and I'm going to keep just trying to get better, maybe like small tweaks on that list for the next 5 weeks. That's like my plan, because I always think that if I'm going to a tournament, I don't have the best memory. I always forget rules and stuff when I'm using new models. So I'm thinking that if I keep going with what I've been going for the last 5 weeks, so I'm pretty experienced, last 9 weeks, so I'm pretty experienced playing it, and take some sort of variation of that to the tournament. That's kind of the plan where I stand right now, so that's kind of what I'm planning on doing. But as soon as I've gone to that event, because I was speaking to my wife the other day about going to more events, and like at this moment in time, right, like we got a 3-year-old and we've got a 1-year-old, and it's, I can't, because one of my friends was actually inviting me to, I don't know if you guys follow football, but Scotland are probably going to make the European Championships next year, and it's going to be in Germany, which is only like £100 for us to get to from Scotland. And one of my friends was like, do you want to come to Germany and we'll try and get tickets to go to Scotland? And I was like, yes, I definitely want to do that. But then I was thinking to myself, like, I actually don't think I can do that right now, right? Because, I mean, my wife would let me do it, don't get me wrong, but if we flip the thing the other way, and my wife came to me and said, I'm going away for 5 days to watch football, you're stuck with the kids and yourself for 5 days. I'm not sure I would do it, but I wouldn't be loving it. So it's like the same sort of like, so after I go to this next tournament, I'm probably not going to go to another one for like, I want to say 3 months, maybe even, I mean, my wife would probably prefer it if I didn't go to another one for 6 months. So, and things will get easier for me, right? Because my kids will get older and they'll not try and destroy the whole house or brain themselves by running around constantly, and no matter how many times you ask them to not run around and fall over, they do it anyway, right? So things will get easier for me. But yeah, I think that beyond that tournament, then I'm quite willing to try anything in my list, right? Like I'd be quite willing to even play a bunch of Sons of Sanguinius lists at that point, and try and be like, is there a Sons of Sanguinius list that no one's finding that can do really, really well? And maybe there's something in the new codex. Maybe there's some sort of new detachment that no one's found, and maybe I can experiment and find it and help people. But after the tournament, because I want to go to the tournament as prepared as I can be prepared. And the tournament that I normally go to gets won by a Necron player who beat me at the last event. He had a bunch of like Locust heavy destroyers and regular destroyers and Orbs of Darkness. So I had to try and screen him, and he like jumped in on me and did a bunch of damage, and I think I recovered pretty well. In that event, Gilliman actually killed the Silent King in one round of combat, which was funny because I kind of held Gilliman back for like a whole turn. I was like, I'm not sure I want to engage with Gilliman right yet because I'm a little bit scared about Gilliman dying. And when Gilliman actually went out, he just killed the Silent King from full health, I think it was, or maybe the Silent King had lost like a handful of wounds. So he was still on like 18 wounds, and I think at least one of the men here things were still alive. Gilliman just killed them. He was just like, Emperor's Sword, take a ton of mortal wounds, you're all dead. So I've asked the guy that plays Necrons if he wants to come on the channel. It might be before this event, it might be after the event, but regardless, Matthew, that's his name, he's an insanely good Necron player. He usually wins events, so it'd be good to at least... be good to get a Necron player in my circle a bit more, and it would also be good for you guys to see how to deal with Necrons if I can actually deal with them, right? Yeah, it seems like this edition is much better for expanding the amount of lists that can actually be competitive. Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, Master Prophet, is they're trying to make it that you're not going to get stuck with one detachment that isn't very good, or you're not going to end up... Yeah, I think that's mainly it. They're trying to say, Marine players, you're not going to get stuck with an attachment that's no use for you, or is not competitive for you, or something of that nature. So, like, there's going to be options. And I think options is good, right? Like, as much as I'd rather just run all my melee units, would I rather be stuck running my melee units? Because I've been to events before where I've gone to the event and I've lined up my army on the table and I've looked at my opponent's list and thought, this is an unwinnable game. And people always say, well, like, no, not every game's unwinnable. And I was like, well, yeah, sure. If my opponent makes a ton of bad dice rolls, this game is winnable. But if he's competent and he knows his list, everything in his list counters mine. So I think having options, and I think that's why they won't limit you to which detachments you run this edition, honestly. So I think when the Blood Angels Codex comes out, I'd be very surprised if you have to run Blood Angels as Sons of Sanguinius. I think you might get some specific bonuses for running Sons of Sanguinius with Blood Angels units, but I really don't think they're going to enforce that like some people think they're going to fix. Master Prophet says, I'm going to tempt you to run the Stormlands for the out-of-phase movement. Gladius can do the out-of-phase movement as well, you know that, right? I mean, it is strong. And I believe Stormlands has sort of... No, not Stormlands. The Firestorm one kind of has an out-of-phase movement thing as well. You just have to use transports to make it happen. But yeah, I think Stormlands doesn't hit hard enough. I think you're probably right, Doctor. So yeah, Kevin, back to your original point. I do like that Lieutenant, the reroll ones on a specific objective. I'm sure you can make that work in a game. I'm sure that can be valuable. I'm sure if you pick the right objective, it could be good. He's also, like you said, he's lone operative. Hey! There we go. There's the super chat. Come on. Thank you. I'd love to see Necrons more often on the channel. I play them quite often in my meta, and it'd be great to see some second-hand experience. I lose often. Yeah, well, that's just the thing. I end up going to tournaments and playing Necrons for the first time in like 6 months at an event, and I lose often as well. I got beat by a couple of Necrons in the last couple of events I've been to. So yeah, I'm trying to get... If I could get Matthew to come on, that would be even better, because I don't mind losing. I also think that you learn more when you lose than when you win, right? So if we can get Matthew on, because he is an amazing Necron player, he wins a lot of events. I was going to say, I think I've been to 3 or 4 events now where if he hasn't won, he's been at least like top 3, top 5. And I think when Necrons were like super dominant last edition, you remember like last edition they had like really strong secondaries and they could get up to 100 points very, very, very quick. He was winning like a lot of events. I want to say he won like at least 3 or 4 GTs. So if I can get him on the channel, and I've asked, and we kind of had a little chat on WhatsApp or Messenger or whatever messaging program it was, I think. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and get. I would like to get more practice against Necrons for sure, and it's great to have more people that want to come on the channel and play. Honestly, because I think before Miles came, like I'm trying to think when I even met Miles. I met Miles through Andrew. Like I never met Miles before. Andrew was like, "Oh, there's this guy that plays Eldar who's really good. You should play him. His name's Miles." And I was like, "Okay." And I feel like now me and Miles are really good friends, and we went to that team tournament together and took home the victory, right? So it's like sometimes, like Warhammer is a way to make friends, right? It's great. People always used to say to me when I was a kid, they were like, "How do you make friends?" And I was like, "I don't know, just make friends." I guess in Warhammer it's very easy to make friends. People just want cool people to play against, so you be stand up, you play fairly, and you get invited back, I guess. Yeah, I had a question actually about Vanguard veterans, because I see Seraph talking about them in the chat. Necrons are, can you get the characters dead and kill the C'tans? Yeah, I'm not sure Matthew actually ran any C'tans. He ran the Silent King, but he didn't run any C'tans. I was more scared of the C'tans when they had the phase cap, honestly. Have I ran into Black Templars or Space Wolves yet this edition? I played the Space Wolves at 2 events at the end of 9th. Haven't played them in 10th. And I played the Black Templars at 1 event at the end of 9th again. Haven't played them in 10th. But I mean, I'll be going to, I'm going to an event in 5-6 weeks time. Who knows? I'll probably end up playing a bunch of armies that I haven't played this edition, and I'll probably get beat a bunch. But whatever happens, I'll try and learn something, right? I did make good friends with a Space Wolf player though, at one of my last events. So I said to him as well, he should come on the channel sometime, so I probably just need to chase him up and see if he wants to play. Ardeen, good evening, how are you? How cool it would be if the Blood Angels detachment, the Red Thirst was the strat, and the Red Rampage was the army style rule. You just want it backwards. Well, I think... I was going to say, it's hard to know with Games Workshop, because sometimes you think something and then they just do something completely that you wouldn't expect. But I think, based on like looking at these other new detachments that we've got, like the Firestorm one and all that, it feels like a lot of effort or a lot of thought went into a bunch of those detachments. Like I really think that like I said, I haven't seen all the detachments in the new codex. But looking at the Firestorm detachment, it feels like a lot of thought went into that detachment. Because like there's a lot of synergy in it, and there's a lot it can do. I just think it's a cool detachment overall. So like, looking at that detachment kind of hopefully gives me some hope that like... Because the index detachments were always going to be kind of... I don't want to say lazily written, but they were... The index vanilla? Would that be a better word? So the index detachments were always going to be quite vanilla, right? Like... They just want everybody to be able to play their army and no one to be... Well, they definitely didn't want anyone to be as powerful as Eldar was, that's for sure. But, or Genestealer cults, I guess. But yeah, the vanilla detachments probably just didn't get all that much love or all that much time. And from the playtesting that we seem to have seen, like, yeah, I don't think they got all that much playtesting either. So I think the new detachments fill me with quite a bit of hope. Because I think... I haven't seen all of them, but someone was saying that the Vanguard one looks really good. I'm able to make a video on the Vanguard one as soon as I see it. But the Fire Assault one seems really, really great. Seems like a cool detachment, lots of flexibility. Is definitely going to be able to do work in multiple situations, right? Hello, Jim. Good evening. +1 to wound and lethal hits on everyone, on everything would be really good. Yeah, do you know what? Another thing I was surprised by... And tell me here if you guys were surprised by this. I think it's kind of surprising. It's like there's no Blood Angels relied, at least last edition, Blood Angels relied on being able to get into combat and do a lot of damage and have that AP bonus from the Assault Doctrine, right? Like, that's really what, like, pushed us, you know, like, in turn 3 and 4, well, in 5 too, I guess. The thing that really pushed us on was the bonus AP that we would get from that Assault Doctrine. And it's like, the current Blood Angels detachment, the Sons of Sanguinius detachment, has no way of increasing your AP. And I don't know, that's why I think that detachment's like half-baked, because it's like, the World Eaters detachment, I'm convinced has a stratagem that increases AP. And I just feel like if you're going to make a melee detachment, you need a strat that increases AP melee. I mean, even Gladius has one that increases AP in melee, right? Which, because it has one, it arguably makes that strat kind of better than the Blood Angels one, which is crazy, but that's just the way it is. The Firestorm detachment is making me want to play, says Jim. I can't wait to see some people, the lists that we get for Firestorm. I'm excited to see Firestorm. It just makes so many more guns viable. I haven't been running my Redemptor Dreadnoughts, honestly. I haven't run them at all. Yeah, I don't think I've run my Redemptor Dreadnoughts at all. I think I ran one once in like one game in 10th edition, thought it was absolute garbage. I'm thinking if everything's up +1 strength, even like the chaff firing stuff, so like bolters are strength 5 and onslaught cannons are strength 6 and missile pods are strength 9, it's just like everything's just going to be up in strength. Like, I feel like I could run a Redemptor Dreadnought, and I've got 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I mean, you could arguably even run Redemptor Dreadnoughts with Flamer arms rather than onslaught cannon arms, I guess, just because you've got extra strength on those flamers, right? The one that you can do devastating wounds in that detachment or torrent weapons seems pretty cool as well. And I think you could run like 10 Infernus Marines. You could get like +1 to wound, and you could get devastating wounds on 6s, and you could also get +1 strength. Like, there's a lot of nice, like, that's what I was saying, that Firestorm detachment has a lot of synergy. Looks like the detachment was well thought out. There's a lot of synergy there. So I guess my question is, and Vindicators can get Assault. Yeah, I guess Vindicators can get Assault for sure. I think we might see some Ultramarines play that detachment over Gladius. I think it's really good. Hand Flamers are actually decent now, and Assault on all guns is a beautiful thing. Well, the Hand Flamers can get +1 to wound as well, and you could have Hand Flamers wounding on, like, wounding T8 on 4s or something. It's crazy. I don't know if we'll see anyone be mad enough to run that many Hand Flamers, but yeah, no, it just seems like a well thought out detachment, good synergies, and hopefully that means that future detachments for Marines, for other, like, hopefully it means that when they get the melee detachments out, they'll be well thought out with good synergies. I guess that's what I'm reading into that, I guess. That'd be fair to say? Flame Aggressors are great in Firestorm, although Bolt Aggressors and Gladiators are still much better. Yeah, I mean, it's the Bolt Aggressors and Gladius are probably just over-tuned at the moment. Can Dante and the Jump Pack Sanguinary Priest lead Jump Pack Intercessors, says Niccolo. As it stands, Niccolo, I guess not. We're going to need an FAQ on these new Jump Intercessors, right? I don't know how they're actually going to do that. Or if they're even going to bother. Does anyone know how they're going to do that? What do people think is actually going to happen? Like, because as it stands, no characters from like any of the indexes will be able to lead the jump intercessors. I mean, I guess, am I wrong here? Because I feel like the character says who they can lead, so they can't. Just says, don't worry, I've got the Hand Flamers, I'll do it. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go mad on hand flamers, go for it. Let me know how it goes. I think it would be pretty fun actually to run that many hand flamers. I just don't know how competitive it would be, I guess. Or would it be 10 guys with hand flamers? Is the Death Company the only unit that can run that, though? And the Death Company can't be attached by a captain anymore. Or, well, I guess they could never be attached by a captain. But, you kind of want your Flamer unit attached by a captain so you can do the free stratagem thing on them. I mean, I guess you can pay the CP, but it would be better if you had a captain attached, right? All of the known Codex factions need an FAQ to be allowed to lead the new models. Death Company in particular are now broken. Van Vets can take hand flamers too. Oh, I forgot Van Vets can take hand flamers. I guess it's not very. So they can take a hand flamer and an heirloom weapon? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask a question about Van Vets, right? Van Vets obviously lost all of their melee options, I guess, right? Literally all of them. They just have the heirloom weapon, which is a strength 5 chainsword, essentially, -1 damage. Do you guys think that we'll get like a Vanguard veteran Primaris squad that is, you know, like that durable 4-up Invan Primaris jump squads? Like, will we get Primaris Vanguard veterans? Like, at some point, will Vanguard veterans disappear and we'll get Primaris ones? And if so, what are we expecting for weapon options? Like, are they going to be able to do melee? Or are they just kind of shields and a gun option? So I was thinking that, like, Jump Intercessors obviously lost a bunch of the, you know, well, Assault Marines could take, like, Eviscerators and Meltaguns, and Jump Intercessors can take neither, right? I desperately want a Primaris Vanguard Veteran squad, says Surf Song. Yeah. I mean, I think I want it too, but 10 Infernus Marines with a Liberty Dreadnought might be a pretty good with that Devastating Wound stratagem, says Mass Prophet. Yeah, because you can use that Devastating Wound stratagems for no CP if you have a captain attached. And 10 guys with Flamers is going to be like 35 shots before you add in Blast, because obviously there could be Blast. And then Dev Wounds. Dev Wounds statistically on like 35 would be what? Like 6 or 7 Dev Wounds? It's definitely, like, obviously it's not going to be great into targets that have a great save. But if there's targets that don't have a good save, or even into armor targets that you just want to pump a bunch of Dev Wounds into, it certainly feels like you could do it with Infernus Marines, which is funny because up until like when I was looking at it last night, I honestly was like, why would anyone buy Infernus Marines? They're crap. Feels like the claws are being wiped out. Yeah, they kind of are. I mean, claws were always a weird one because they were so strong with the rerolls to wound, weren't they? Maybe it was because the claws could be stacked with the likes of Blood Angels, and then Blood Angels would let you get that +1 to wound and the reroll wound, giving the lightning claws like insane. Like, you could run one lightning claw and have like kind of insane amounts of attacks and insane reliability. And I think that's the thing, that GW are obviously wanting to move away from units that can do multiple things, or units that can do too many things on the battlefield. Which is fine, right? Like, I get the fact that they want, this unit should be good at killing tanks, this unit should be good at killing monsters, this unit should be good at killing infantry, and we shouldn't have like a single unit that just kills everything. I mean, there are some units that just kill everything. Vindicator tanks kill everything. If you're not running Vindicator tanks, consider them, because I love them and they literally kill everything. So if things that kill everything are like a premium, which I guess they are now, my question is like, what Blood Angels need is like a unit that can kill vehicles and monsters, like a melee unit, like essentially what Sanguinary Guard are. You know what, now that I think of it, and we think about it like properly, you know what, now that I think of it, yeah, hear me out, right? If they gave Sanguinary Guard, let's say like, like at the moment it's like we can take blades and swords or some nonsense like that. Imagine if they hadn't done that. Imagine if it had still been swords and axes, right? And swords were like anti-monster 3-up or 4-up, and axes were anti-vehicle 3-up or 4-up. I don't necessarily know the maths. I'm just trying to use it as like a example. You know, because like we're all sitting there going, well, Sanguinary Guard are rubbish. They don't kill anything. And you have to spend stratagems on them every turn because their weapon strength is so low. So like if they just given Sanguinary Guard anti-vehicle, anti-monster, swords and axes, I feel like I just fixed just done Games Workshop's job for them. There you go. Then Sanguinary Guard don't chew through everything, which is what they don't want them to do. Axes are still crap against monsters. Swords are still crap against vehicles or something. But you've done it. You've given these units a single purpose, because at the moment Sanguinary Guard have no purpose. They kill light infantry, but we've got plenty of other stuff that already kills light infantry. I haven't tried it, but I've been looking at maybe running 5 Terminators with a Chaplain. Yeah, I mean, the Chaplain gives the Terminators a 4-up. Is it a 4-up feeling of pain against mortal wounds or something? The Chaplain with the Terminator seems pretty good. The Chaplain can take the shield now as well. Add in some reliability there. Or reliability, durability. Flamer Balpreds, so much cheaper and good in Firestorm. I think the Firestorm detachment with Flamer Balpreds is going to be pretty cool. Flamer Balpreds / Land Raider Redeemers. Like, I think that's going to be a cool detachment that Blood Angels can kind of use that no one else can use. If you want to run some tanks for Blood Angels, you're going to be able to get +1 on the strength of those Flamers. All those tanks are going to be able to advance and shoot the Flamers. You're going to be able to do +1 to wound on those Flamers. The cool thing about the detachment as well, the Firestorm one, is guys can jump out of the vehicles, jump back in the vehicles. There's lots of shenanigans there. I think Firestorm detachment is going to be a really fun and strong detachment. I think it's going to take people a little bit, maybe like a month to figure out how to run it really well. But I think when they do, I think it'll be a really strong detachment. Strength 5 -2 is just a bad stat line for weapons. Even if they lower points again, that's not going to help much. Yeah, I think you're right. That's why I'm saying, would it fix Sanguinary Guard if they'd given them half? You know, like if half the squad had anti-vehicle and half the squad had anti-monster, because that's what you want to use those things for, right? I mean, I suppose you could argue that sometimes you might run into like elite infantry, and then Sanguinary Guard wouldn't be all that good against them. But hey, if you run into elite infantry, don't you have Death Company with like Power Fists? Last I checked, Power Fists are pretty cool at killing elite infantry, right? So like that's what I was trying to say, is like Games Workshop obviously don't want one unit that can do everything, and they're kind of trying to design the game to do that. But hey, at least give some units like some options, because I think at the moment the Sanguinary Guard just have no place in the meta. Like, they're so important as well for Blood Angels. Like, a lot of people have a lot of Sanguinary Guard, a lot of army lists, a lot of builds probably rely on the fact that people needed Sanguinary Guard to be fast moving and durable and work with Dante and stuff like that. And at the moment, props off to the people that are doing well with the Sons of Sanguinius detachment, but I've been avoiding the Sons of Sanguinius detachment. Probably because I think it's quite bad, or it's quite underpowered. And I think that's why, I mean, it's a 38% win rate. It's literally the lowest win rate in all of 40k right now. So, if I'm going to a tournament, trust me, I hate paying my money and rocking up at a tournament with a 30 or 40% army. And I've done that a bunch of times last edition. So I guess I'm going to rock up with my 46% Gladius Marines, because that's preferable to my 38% Blood Angels. Still not great, right? But it's preferable. We'll have to see what the win rates for the new Marine detachments come out as. That'll be interesting. Remember when they said this edition would be less killy? Yeah, they said this. They said that, which was very strange, right? Because they said this edition would be less killy, and they also said there would be less mortal wounds. I think maybe now with the change to devastating wounds, there is slightly less mortal wounds. I think when devastating wounds were still around, where like Eldar were able to proc it and all this sort of stuff, and you could get units that could do 12 mortal wounds or something. I feel like at the start of the edition there was more mortal wounds. Maybe they've managed to tone that down a bit, but they definitely like it was a conscious decision where some units lost a bunch of AP and got less killy, whereas other units were kind of unaffected by that. Like I thought that they would honestly reduce the AP of Melta, because if you find ways of buffing Melta, then you still have that giant, and it's kind of giant, minus 4 AP. There's not many things that are minus 4 anymore. I mean, maybe Angron or something, right? So if you can find ways of buffing Melta, then potentially you get really interesting, or you get really strong very quickly, because you've got that giant AP. And I guess the Firestorm detachment is going to be a detachment that can buff Melta, I'd say significantly, right? It can buff the Melta pretty well. The Calidus is a must-have now, with fewer strats. Falls, good evening, how are you? Loads of my Eldar units have less options. Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's the way of the world, right? Like, Space Marines are going to have less options. I mean, Space Marine players aren't loving the fact that they're going to have less options, but I mean, it sounds like they're going to have less options and there's nothing they can do about it. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, models that have no real viable builds need to be looked at. Because I really don't see a viable build for Sanguinary Guard, period, in the way they are right now. I guess you could argue that there is a viable build, right? But I don't see it. Like, what's the viable build for Sanguinary Guard? Like, if you gave their weapons anti-vehicle or anti-monster, I feel like suddenly they have a much more viable place and a reason to pick them, and then they just do one thing, right? They just kill those vehicles or monsters, which is what Games Workshop want, where units have one viable build, or they fill one clear purpose. But at the moment, I don't see a viable build for SG, or even, yeah, I just don't see it. If the Sons of Sanguinius had a strat for advancing in charge, I've no problem running them more often. I do think that that's mad as well, that it's like Gladius have the bloody advance in charge, and the Sons of Sanguinius detachment does not have the advance in charge. But and Sons of Sanguinius on the 38% are about to be made even worse when this Oath of Moment change happens as well, right? Because that's going to affect them. It's going to make it even harder for them to get wound rolls and stuff in melee combat with units. Would Sanguinary Guard benefit from the First Company? I haven't read all the First Company rules yet, Campbell. Like I said, I don't have my codex. I mean, there was that -1 damage strat that looked pretty interesting, but I think it specifically called out which units can be used on, so the Sanguinary Guard couldn't benefit from that, which is a bit strange because they are technically like First Company. Within the lore. So,
I have awoken.
If there is a build if there is a build that makes Sanguinary Guard super viable, we'll find it and we'll make a video on it for sure. I'm quite looking forward to getting the book. Hoping my book comes on Saturday, because I think I said earlier in the stream, my wife's out on Saturday, so I actually get some peace and quiet to put my feet up and read the codex. Can't remember the last time I got a new codex where, like, my house is empty and I can just put my feet up. I think I read one of my Space Marine codexes with like a 2-year-old climbing all over me. Rapid ingress behind a ruin with a 12-inch move has been plenty. Yeah, I mean, rapid ingress is a brilliant stratagem. Don't get me wrong. So rapid ingressing your units into a safe position to then move 12 and do your charge is very strong. It's one of the best ways you can probably use like the Sons of Sanguinius guys, because rapid ingress, although it costs you a CP, is going to be a million times more reliable than those 9-inch charges, right? Well, not a million times, but you know what I mean. 9-inch charges never work when you need them to work, do they? They only work when you've already won the game. I miss being able to double rapid ingress and set up 2 charges. Why can't you do double rapid ingress? I thought you could attach a captain and then you can do it twice. Oh, is it not a battle stratagem? No, I mean, maybe they just determined that was too strong. I don't really run multiple units that need rapid ingress, but okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that they maybe determined that was too strong. Oh, that's annoying. It's funny that they sometimes make like those sweeping changes. You never really... You know, they make sweeping changes that, like, not that many... Like, I don't know many people that were doing double rapid ingress. I hadn't really seen that in any of my games. But, I mean, I guess it happens. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw anyone do double rapid ingress on me. It would make a lot of sense, though, for Blood Angels... or a Blood Angel's force to benefit from, like, a double rapid ingress. Yeah, I guess. Maybe it's just too strong in certain situations. I honestly didn't think I'd be... Yeah, here's a... Do these Primaris Dreadnoughts, these ones, the Redemptor, the Brutalis, the Ballistus, is there a name for this chassis that it is? Right, like, I guess, like, what I mean by that is, like, the legs and the torso. Does the chassis have a name, so to speak? Like, is it a specific type of Dreadnought chassis? Or is it not? Last time I just deep struck Sangre Guard onto my home objective before moving out. I mean, I used to do that quite often in tournament play, honestly. I'd have a squad of Sangre Guard that were just hanging out in my deployment zone for multiple turns, and or bring in Sangre Guard from Deep Strike to my deployment later in the game. There's something to be said about, like, that just adds about a bunch of, like, I want to say, like, safety or reliability or something to your list. Like, if you just have a squad of Sangre Guard that are just chilling and hanging out and that can react, that could be very good. But yeah, maybe the... I was going to say, maybe the rapid ingress is just one step too far. Like, maybe it's just too good for, hey, you can't bring all these units in from reserve too easily. The chassis is different in all three. Well, I mean, is it? The legs and the chest piece are identical. I mean, sure, I guess the Redemptor has a rocket pod on top, and this guy's got nothing on top, and the Ballistus has... Sorry, and the Brutalis has like a stubber on top, but apart from that, everything else is the same, right? The legs are the same, and the power pack thing on the back's the same, right? No? Am I missing something? When I have to ask, am I missing something, the answer is yes, John, you're normally missing something. It's a less cool Leviathan chassis. Alright, yeah, perfect. Campbell, that's what we'll call it from now on. I mean, you could call it the Primaris Dreadnought chassis, says Foz, but I think the less cool Leviathan chassis has a better ring to it. We'll all know exactly what you mean, right? I guess it's the Primaris one. Foz is probably right. Man, I was going to say, I don't know if it's hit home that I'll never be able to field a Leviathan Dreadnought again. Sad times. What an iconic unit. You know, I never owned a drill for a Leviathan Dreadnought for the longest time. and I proxied it in so many games, and then someone on the channel sent me a drill. Someone who watches the channel sent me a drill. It was James. It was James that came on the channel to play his. What did he play? He played Blood Angels, and I played Flesh Tears. I was gonna say, I think that's the only time I've played Flesh Tears on the channel, when I played James. So it might be the only time Flesh Tears I've ever won on my channel, actually. So intercessors with jump packs are good or not? I think they could fit a role. It's based on the Redemptor chassis, says the Invictor X07 says. So it's actually called a Redemptor chassis. Okay, so these things are on what we're calling, I guess, a Redemptor chassis. Thank you. I feel like a right idiot when I don't know these things. But yeah, I guess the other $1 million question now, and it's a difficult question to answer, but it's probably just as difficult a question to ask, is like, with all this Firstborn stuff disappearing in the new Space Marine Codex, what Firstborn stuff is going to disappear with the Blood Angels Codex? Because if it doesn't disappear with this Blood Angels Codex this edition, like 10th edition, you really think it's going to be still here in the 11th edition? So I think we're gonna see more things disappear for sure. I just don't know what, and I guess we'll get some sort of refresh. Hard to say, right? Don't know what we're gonna get. It's a little bit scary. Alright, he has a few more colours on him for now, so I'm actually going to sit him to the side and go work on something else. He's definitely got enough colours to be battle ready on there. There's red, there's black, there's 2 types of grey, there's parchment, and there's purity seals. So he's got about 6 colours on him. It's still a lot to go, a lot to base out, but yeah, I'm going to do, you know what, I'm going to do texture paint at the end of the stream. I am going to put texture paint on him tonight. So I'll put him to the side for now. Tycho Astroth Librarian. They better not get rid of the Librarian Dreadnought. Come on. We definitely won't get Primaris Tycho. Hey, there's been bigger retcons. We might get Primaris Tycho. Alright, I'm going to go settle my daughter. I'll be right back. I was going to say, surely there's been bigger retcons than Tycho. Surely. I think there has been, right? I guess Blood Angels are losing. Oh, you said the Librarian Dreadnought as well, Foz? No. No, don't do this. Don't everyone come in saying we're losing Librarian Dreadnought. I was going to say, I don't want to have to paint another Redemptor style chassis. How many of them am I going to have? I've got 3 Redemptors, I've got 2 Ballistas, I've got the Brutalis, Gonna have like 10 of those new dreadnoughts. Serenade says he thinks the Death Company could disappear. However, Joy Toy did do some variants on Blade Guard for Blood Angels that might be happening. Blade Guard with jump packs. I was going to say, it sounds cool. The issue with Blade Guard is that they've got strength 5 swords that don't really kill things. I did want to get Blade Guard to have jump packs at some point, though. I did think that would be quite cool. Like durable versions of the Sangre Guard, basically, is what a Blade Guard with a jump pack would be, right? Like really durable, extra wounds, sort of durable. Quicks, good evening. Yeah, I just built a Contemptor into a Librarian Dreadnought. Do you know what? Lots of people converted Contemptors into Librarian Dreadnoughts. They must just be the perfect type of Dreadnought to convert into a Librarian Dreadnought. I was going to say, if they bring out a Primaris Librarian Dreadnought, I'm going to take my firstborn one and stick him on a bigger base. And maybe, I was going to say, find a box. Like a car, I was going to say like a 3D printed cardboard box you can stand on, so people don't say I'm modelling for advantage. So he's a 3D print. He's a firstborn Librarian Dreadnought standing on a big cardboard box. It's gonna be a sad day if all the box knots disappear, isn't it? I'm trying to think, based on like what Black Templar's got for a refresh, because you could almost try and base like what Blood Angels might get on what the Black Templar's got. Hey Highland Phoenix, good evening, how are you? Would be super slick if they made a sculpt of the Damned of the Tower of Armero from the Devastation of Baal. The Damned of the Tower? I'm trying to think. I've read Devastation of Baal. When did I read it? Explain what the tower is. I'm gonna have to read it again now. I'm kind of thinking I might still keep one squad of intercessors in my list just for the sticky objectives. I feel like sticky objectives were really handy last edition. Models that sell are unlikely to go away unless they're being replaced. So what you're saying is we all need to buy Firstborn Death Company. Keep them high on the selling list so that they don't go away. The thing is that I think a lot of people already have as much Firstborn Death Company as they want, and I think with all these changes they've done recently to Primaris models, people are going to be reluctant to buy Firstborn because it seems like, well, a lot of people lost Firstborn models, right? Evening Jimmy, how are you? I think we can all agree that Vanguard veterans are on borrowed time. Yeah, well that's what I was trying to say. Like, do you think we're going to get a Primaris Vanguard veteran squad that has like they need a different role to the jump intercessors? I'd really like to see a jump squad that has like a completely different role, like a jump squad that kills vehicles. Because I don't think anyone's got that anymore. And that's their role. And the way to make them that role would be to give them like I said, like give Sangre Guard axes, anti-monster, and give their swords anti-vehicle or something. I think I said it vice versa when I talked about it before. But like Sangre Guard have no role in my. Yeah, like I showed it off on stream the other night. Like I have a box with like 30 fully painted Sangre Guard, maybe even more than 30 because originally I didn't magnetize them, so I got a bunch of different guys with weapon options in there, so it's maybe over 30. There's definitely multiple banner bearers. And we don't use any of them because they've got no role. And I suppose your role, you could say, their role is to kill infantry. And I was like, yeah, but they're too expensive to be killing strength 4 infantry with. They don't have the AP to kill Terminators or something nastier. So what's their role? They have no, like, I don't know. I started this edition, I think it was like 5 games in a row I ran 5 Sangre Guard, because I just felt they were so expensive, and they were more expensive at the start. They have brought them down like 40 points since I ran them, but even then, I just don't know how you run Sangre Guard effectively. I mean, I'm not running them personally. And yeah, I don't know how you run them effectively. It'd be sweet if they gave models for Earlham. They are like Sangre Guard for chaplains. Yeah, I guess the question is, like, how much do we because that's what I was trying to say, like the Black Templar stuff, like how much do we think that we're going to get? Because like Black Templar's got the Crusader squad, and they got one other squad, right? The Sword Brethren? Primaris Sword Brethren? Did they get a third squad? I feel like they got a squad with neophytes in them, but I think that's the Crusader squad. Eternal Crusaders here in the channel. How many Primaris squads did the Black Templars get? It was just 2. It was like 2 and 3 characters, I think. Andonius has 5 boxes of Unbuilt Death Company. Unbuilt Death Company are honestly they're going to be worth their weight in gold, dude, because Death Company have the best shoulder pads, and they have the best helmets, and they have like those custom chain swords and stuff. I guess that's not going to be quite as relevant because they don't quite fit the Primaris model's arms and stuff, but they definitely, like, I said this in my video last week, the Blood Angels upgrade sprue in my opinion kind of sucks. But like, a box of Death Company has a lot of really good options in it. The box of Sangre Guard is a close second, I'd say. So if you don't have Blood Angels pieces, do you know what, the box of Sangre Guard is probably the close second because you get the wings. And you don't necessarily need to put your wings on your Sangre Guard. You can put wings on Sangre Guard. Wings work really well on characters. I don't know when I'm going to be streaming this week, because I think I said earlier, my wife's out on Saturday, so it might be hard for me with the kids to try and do some streaming. But one of the things I want to do as soon as I get because I bought this new Primaris captain with the jump pack. One of the things I want to do as soon as I get him is do a stream where I convert him. And I want to convert him to have wings and more Blood Angels heraldry than, obviously, because you'll have no Blood Angels heraldry, right? So I want to give him Blood Angels heraldry and probably a set of wings. Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do with the new bike captain. Sword Brethren, Primaris Crusader squad, they got the Champion Helbrecht, they got Grimaldus, they got the Marshal, they got the Castellan, I was going to say Castellan, I'm not sure who Castellan is. I was going to say. So he's another character, and then they got the awesome upgrade sprue. Is that upgrade sprue that awesome? Because I looked at that upgrade sprue, and it seems like it's like $25 upgrade sprue. It didn't look like it had that many weapons on it when I looked at it. Is that, like, tell me why the upgrade sprue was awesome. I mean, I think most Blood Angels players would be quite happy to buy a 25 upgrade sprue if the sprue was awesome. Because that's usually what it comes down to, like, we'll buy the plastic if it's awesome. If it's not awesome, not so much. They're cutting off a bunch of the unique units to maximise profits. Says Foz, do they need to though, Foz? Because I thought like last year they made like $100 million. Sorry, not $100 million. They made like $100 billion profit, right? Like their profit was fine. So do they need to? Can they if people are at, like, the customer is always right. Like, that is a saying, right? So if your customer is saying, we want more customization and we want to have more fun and do more things, then arguably you should give the customer what they want, right? Like, that's how you run a successful business. You listen to what your customers want and you give them what they want. Yeah, there's tons of bits and bobs, shotguns and special backpacks. I didn't realise that I had a special backpacks. They need even more profits. Well, everybody needs more profits. Hey, the cost of living's going up. But I don't think they should... I think that you should keep the flavour of the chapters and give them specific units. I think that's cool. And I think losing that will... Hey, people already don't love it with the Primaris changes. So I think if they do it for more units or more chapters, people will... You know, people just... Some people will be okay with it, other people will complain. I usually just try and on this channel tell people how I'm honestly feeling about things. Because I honestly think honesty is the best policy, so I just try and be honest. And I know sometimes I can be negative, but I try for the most part to be kind of positive. I don't like getting too negative into things as well. There was a banner and a multi-melt. Yeah, I mean, the Black Templars need multi-meltas because all their vehicles can get multi-meltas. Pookie Manidus says, hey, being Commander, Saturday is going to be expensive for me. I was going to say, what are you buying on Saturday, dude? I was going to say, I think most people have pre-ordered stuff already, right? I spent like $80. I went for the Jump Intercessors, the Jump Captain, and I feel like one other thing. Oh, the Codex. Yeah, so that was like $80. I was thinking like, what other model am I getting? No, Codex. I didn't go for the Collector's Edition Codex this time. I obviously showed you guys that I had the Blood Angels Collector's Edition Codex last time round. That was the first time I ever bought a Collector's Edition Codex. I just don't know if I felt like it was worth enough. Like, it was double the price, and it's just got like a better cover or something. Like, I don't think it's giantly different, or at least I didn't feel like it was worth it. I know some people did go for the giant Codex. Yeah, I mean, if it's your first time getting a Collector's Edition Codex, enjoy it for sure. It is a collector's piece. Keep it nice if you can and stuff. But yeah, I didn't feel like I needed to spend the extra $30 on the collector's one this time. Certainly just got the book. Blood Angels followed by Templars are the two most popular Marine factions. I could see 2 or 3 squads and the characters redone. Yeah, I believe Blood Angels have surpassed Ultramarines as the most popular one. Which is lucky for me making this channel, right? Because when I made the channel, I just picked the faction I was into. I didn't really realise that we were right up there as possibly the most popular. But yeah, apparently now we are the most popular. Games Workshop did a survey like a year ago and we came up as like the most popular. But hey, it's cool to be popular, I guess. I did a poll on the 40k Reddit page about a month ago. Blood Angels... Oh, you did a poll? Okay. Yeah, no, I know Games Workshop did like an actual survey. Like I can't remember how long ago it was now, but it was a couple of years. They did like an actual survey type thing where they figured out Blood Angels were the most popular. I'm dreading a refresh for Deathwatch for me. All the flavour is gone and I'm very friggin' salty, says Jimmy. Yeah, I hear you, Jimmy. I was salty about losing my Legends units. I was salty about losing a bunch of my Firstborn units. I probably lost like a third of my painted collection. So it was funny that I made a video, like the new channel trailer for this channel. Like I made like the 2023 channel trailer where I updated, talking about a bunch of stuff that I do differently on the channel from when the channel started, you know. So I made my new channel trailer, I got all my models out. I want to say I was quite pleased with the channel trailer, and then I must have probably had over 10,000 points of painted stuff, but I lost about a third. Because I had a lot, like I had 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts, I had 2 Leviathan Dreadnoughts. I had like the super heavy tank, so that alone, just those like 5 models, it's like the best part of like 1500 points. And then you add in like Turok siege drills and stuff like that, it very, very quickly adds up. So at the start, between like July and now, I probably lost like 3,000 points worth of stuff. And that's fully painted stuff. You guys see how slow I am at painting. I'm the slowest paint. I think if there was a Guinness Book of Records for Slow Painter Award, I'm taking that crown home, baby. None of you guys are slower than me, surely. I'm the slowest. I don't even try and be slow, I just am slow, honestly. So I spent $80 on Eisenhorn, Jokero, 2 henchmen. You went for the... I was going to say Highland Phoenix going for the meta choices here. You're going to get screwed again, Highland Phoenix. Didn't you just get... You were just building 3 command squads. So he was building 3 Firstborn command squads. He had them all set out. He had pictures of them and everything. And then, like, as soon as he sent me those... I think probably what happened, Highland Phoenix, is you sent me that email with, like, your 3 Firstborn command squads ready to start making or painting. Somehow, someone at Games Workshop intercepted that email because the world is like the Matrix. Someone got that email and saw it and went, Highland Phoenix is making 3 Firstborn command squads with las cannon and storm shields, and someone went, oh hell no. And then like the very next day it was like Firstborn command squads are no longer a thing. Good evening, Edward, how are you? My poor command squads. Yeah, I mean, you're doing it again, though. You're buying all these inquisitorial henchmen. I don't know if the inquisitorial henchmen are going to stay as cheap as they currently are, because, why do I not think that? The inquisitorial henchmen have 2 wounds each, and you get like 5 of them for 40 points. I think that they're maybe like undercosted for the fact that they have 2 wounds each. You definitely don't want me saying this though, right, Highland Phoenix? Right after you've ordered them, you're like, shut the hell up, John. They're absolutely balanced. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Hey, I'm usually wrong. Can any characters lead Devastator squads? Because, man, it would be fun to have them with assault cannons with 6s to hit per turn for Firestorm. I don't think anyone can lead Devastator squads. I haven't played against anyone who's talked about leading Devastator squads. I was thinking about that. Like, Firestorm have this cool enhancement where, like, what is it? Like, 1 unit from your army every turn, not battle round, turn, can change 1 dice roll into a 6 for a hit, and I think it's or 1 dice roll from a 6 for a save, right? And it's like 15 points. I think that's an amazing. I think it's amazing that that enhancement. I think it's really good. I'm gonna have a video on Firestorm coming out this week, guys, and I'm gonna tell you because I think Firestorm is going to be one of the. Based on, I haven't seen everything yet, and I haven't had the codex to read in front of me, but what I've seen from Firestorm is I think it's going to be one of the best. I think you could play Blood Angels in Firestorm. I think it would be good. I think it might even be better than Sons of Sanguinius, honestly. I think it would be really good. Strength 10 Infernal Pistols. I think it's good. +1 to wound if you're in range as well with those Infernal Pistols. So strength 10 +1 to wound Infernal Pistols. It's pretty cool. 10 of them on a Death Company or something. Bring back the Triple Gladiator Reaper. Did anyone actually run Triple Gladiator Reaper? Because I thought when... because I was running Gladiator Reapers for a while. And when I was running them, I didn't feel like many other people were really running Gladiator Reapers. It felt like I was going to say, I felt like I was kind of representing for the Blood Angels there. I didn't think that many people. I wasn't looking around going, oh shit, look at all these guys running Gladiator Reapers. Oh, maybe Highland Phoenix running Gladiator Reapers? Space Wolves are a character that can lead them. Yeah, I guess the generic... Are Infernal Pistols only strength 8? Are they? Did Blood Angels get screwed over? Why have we only got strength 8 Infernal Pistols? What's that about? Really not. Infernal Pistols. Huh. Our meltas are not as good as everyone else's meltas. What's up with that? I mean, you can still get +1 to wound with them in the Firestorm detachment. Okay, they're strength 9 +1 to wound. Someone won a tournament with Devastators getting Bolt or Discipline buffs? With which? Well, maybe I mean, like someone said it was Space Wolves. Well, it's not called Bolt or Discipline anymore, right? It's called Fire Discipline, which makes more sense. And it went up 5 points. So I think Aggressors went up like 20 points, and Fire Discipline went up 5 points. So if you want to run the trick or the shenanigans with the Aggressors, it'll now cost you 25 points. The thing is, I still think it's amazingly good even at 25 points more. I feel like I'm still 100% using it. Because I used that Aggressor squad against Mortarion, and Mortarion's like 17 wounds at toughness 12 or something, and like I killed Mortarion in one turn with them, and I don't even think I used I can't remember, but I'm like 90% sure I didn't even use Oath of Moment or Mortarion. I just shot him. Just did like 15 damage to him with bolters. And I suppose Aggressors did get a slight buff, right? They got their weapon skill improved, which is good. I don't think it made a whole lot of sense that they were weapon skill 4, so they're weapon skill 3 now on their power fists, so they're better. Been looking at the Ironstorm Spearhead for Blood Angels to make Reapers work better. I haven't really looked at the Ironstorm Spearhead. That's the Iron Hands type detachment. I was telling Andrew, because Andrew didn't even realise Codex Space Marines was out this weekend, and I said to him, like, Codex Space Marine's out, and apparently the Iron Hands detachment's really strong, and he was like, oh, is it out? And I was like, well, no, Andrew, it's out this weekend. So, do you know what? If it's super strong, there might only be a few weeks before we see Iron Hands. I haven't played enough games against other Marine fractions, so maybe we'll get a game against the... Andrew always likes to call them the Broken Hands, right? So we'll maybe get a game against the Broken Hands, because they always are kind of broken, at least in the way that he runs them. I still have nightmares about that list that he ran when he had... I think he had an Iron Hands list where he had like 70 multi-meltas on the list, or I think it was like 70 something multi-melta shots per turn. It was ridiculous. It's almost as bad as when Colin ran an Ultramarines list that had like 550 bolter rounds a turn. It was the stupidest thing ever, because he's just throwing so many dice like 500 plus shots of 500 plus bolter shots per turn. He did beat me in that game, but it was close. It was much closer than you might think it was. I think with a couple of mistakes, because I think I was playing like Outriders for the first time, and I hate Outriders. But a couple less mistakes, I think I would have beaten him, even with his ridiculous amount of bolter fire. It's basically Jack Harpster's fault with winning LVO. It's not really his fault for winning LVO. The problem with LVO is the terrain, man, is so... Like, the terrain in that tournament benefited Blood Angels so heavily. Like, I never go to a tournament and see that level of terrain. And it's all well and good Games Workshop saying, like, hey, this is the level of terrain we expect the game to be played on, but, spoiler, most people don't play on that level of terrain. I still think Jack had a very, very difficult run-in to win that event. But that event was helped a lot by... Yeah, I mean, that's just not the sort of level... Like, if you just go to a little club, like a little 30-player GT, they're not going to have the same sort of density or uniformity that somewhere like LVO has. So at that point, it's almost like his own meta, LVO. Because Blood Angels didn't win very many other tournaments, right, when Jack won LVO? It wasn't like Blood Angels were taking home the wins at loads of other events. No, they just won LVO and that was it, right? A lot of people like to put like a benchmark on that and be like, but they won LVO, so they're fine, they're totally balanced. And I was like, yeah, but like, I've literally never played a game. Literally never played a game with the level of terrain and uniformity that LVO table was, because I saw one or two of the final games, and he was playing against like Eldar, and every single unit in his army is in an obscuring position, and they're all also on objectives. And I was like, that's the dream, right? Like, if you're a Blood Angels player and your whole army's obscured, and you're holding half the objectives on the map, that's the dream. Like, that literally... I go to tournaments where that never happens. Ever. 5 games, it never happens. Jay Henderson, good evening. How you doing? LVO was a perfect storm of the terrain, I guess, plus Armor of Contempt. Yeah, Blood Angels were brilliant when Armor of Contempt was out. Whether or not the terrain was good, Armor of Contempt was just so good. It's still, I mean, Armor of Contempt is so good that they made it the core stratagem for every new detachment. That's how good it is. And you pay 1 CP for it every single time you use it, right? That's how good it is. So yeah, if you won LVO with Armor of Contempt, like, kind of makes sense, right? You have your 2-up guys in 2-up save guys in cover, and you're ignoring 1 AP anyway. You need to hit them with -3 just to make them save on 3s. It's crazy. What color? Yellow. LVO was player place terrain? I don't think it was. I think LVO was the GW map. You know how they don't do it all that often, but they occasionally put out their own terrain maps. I think LVO was that. When one of the times they put out a terrain map last edition. I'm like 90% sure. I mean, player place terrain helps Blood Angels a lot as well, but no, I want to say 90%. I feel like I'm right. Still impressive though, right? It doesn't matter that the terrain helped them out. It's still very impressive. Like those sort of giant tournaments, whoever's winning them is playing at an insane level. Just I would have loved to go to some events with that level of conformity, like I said, uniformity between the terrain pieces or something. It doesn't really like if you're just going to a little like local event. That doesn't really happen. Hell, that doesn't even happen sometimes when you're going to like bigger 50-player events and stuff like that. It was player placed? Okay. It was player placed well. Crazy. Didn't realize that. I thought it was player placed until the top tables. Are you sure that... I'm sure the top tables were uniform. Maybe it's player placed till you get to the final 8 or something. Because in LVO, like once there's 8 players left, it sort of breaks off into its own bracket, right? I don't think it's player placed at that point. But yeah, no, that was I mean, Armor of Contempt was a great season. When the Armor of Contempt season ended, or when the Armor of Contempt buff ended for Marines, people were really struggling with Blood Angels again. Like, I think that's when I was running my Guilliman list, because it was like, oh my god, I just need something big and tanky that I just don't have in my current list. Can I share my mini and ask your opinion? Says anti-bet. Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know how I'm going to see your mini though, because where are you going to share it? I mean, you realize that I'm like the most battle ready painter ever. If you want to get like a pro to look at your mini, a lot of people post minis on Reddit. Like, Reddit is definitely flooded with people posting minis. Not that it's a bad thing, but like a lot of people post, like, just post it on Reddit and ask for comments and criticism. Probably get, I was gonna say, you probably get better response. Like, I know about winning lists, or I know how to win games. I don't necessarily know how to critique your painting. Like I said, like, all my painting is done, like, it starts with base colors and then it's a simple wash and then it's like sometimes a very simple highlight. If I ever quit my day job, I'm sure my painting would be better, but I don't have the hours in the day. Can I link a photo? I mean, you can try and link it in Twitch chat, sure. I don't know if it'll come through, but go for it, try. There were some tournament winning Elder lists this edition that went up like 400 points in the last round of nerfs. Yeah, I know that some of the Elder lists went crazy. Cool picture. Can I leave it on? Yeah, this is the picture. This is the picture that was just linked by Anti-Bet. What do I think? I think it looks pretty great, to be honest. I don't really know this army though. Is this Lizardmen? Age of Sigmar? Or the... Yeah, I don't know what they are. I think they look cool. I like the bases. If you want proper critique though, honestly dude, Reddit. People would comment on your Reddit, on your post on Reddit more. You'd get better feedback than I can possibly give you. There's Seraphim from Age of Sigmar. Do you know what I've still got? I've still got a giant box of Age of Sigmar models that I have never opened from, like... Shit, it's gonna be embarrassing. Like, way before I even started this channel. So, like... Well, I've opened it. I've looked inside it. Do you know what? Maybe I should give that away. I'm still wanting to do my charity giveaway at some point. Maybe I should give away some of the Age of Sigmar models, because I don't know when the hell I'm getting to the Sigmar models. I like Age of Sigmar a lot. Yeah, I mean, I like Age of Sigmar. Well, I mean, I've never played it, but I like the aesthetic of it. I really like those dwarves. I don't know what they're called. The one that have got the airships, I think they look super cool. They're called, like, the Caridin Overlords. I'm not going to be pronouncing that even closely, remotely correct, but I think the dwarves look super cool. I also like the Deepkin. They're like underwater elves that have like giant turtles and stuff. They're super cool as well. But yeah, I've never really... Well, I've never played Age of Sigmar ever. I like the Tomb Kings from Fantasy. They're probably my favourite because I played Warhammer Online. Don't know if any of you guys played Warhammer Online. Don't I have Thousand Suns? Yeah, I mean, I have other armies, Balls. I just never get round to them, man. It's I was going to say, as time goes by, I get more and more realization that all these other projects just are nowhere. I'll give you a good example is like, I bought May the 4th, 2021. So basically May the 4th, 2 years ago. So is it just 2 years? Yeah, like 2 years, 4 months? Yeah, something like that. 2 years, 4 months ago, May the 4th. There was a deal on for Star Wars Legion, which is basically the Star Wars version of 40k, where you play as either the Empire, the Separatists, the Rebel Alliance, or I can't remember, the droids. I think I already said the droids. The clones, that's what it was. They were offering like £250 worth of stuff, like a whole army, for $100 because it was July the 4th. Sorry, not July the 4th. July the 4th is American Independence Day. Yeah, I mean, maybe they do a deal on July the 4th, but they do a deal on May the 4th, because that's May the 4th be with you. So I bought that two and a half years ago. I don't think I've taken it. I was going to say, have I taken the cellophane off the box? Okay, I've taken the cellophane off the box, because it's there. But that's it. That's all I've done. And that's 2.5 years ago. I won this. Look at this one. I won this thing. What was it? It was like... This was for one of the 40k tournaments. It's like a friggin' Imperial flying thing for Star Wars Legion. This model costs like 50 or 60 quid. It's in the cellophane. I haven't even looked inside the box. I don't know if you remember, I won that Battletech thing at one of the other events I was at. The Battletech starter box. I just gave it away to a friend that told me that they were thinking about playing Battletech. I mean, I think what I'm realizing as I get older is like, I've got my family, I've got my kids, I can't even get enough games of 40k, and I can't paint my 40k. They've just made half of my 40k that I can't even use anymore because it's all gone to Legends. So if I can't even get my 40k finished, because now I have to do all these millions of Primaris Marines, how am I going to do my other factions? I'm never going to get to them. So yeah, the only time I'm ever going to get to some of this stuff like that Star Wars Legion stuff now is if my daughter wants to paint on like a Saturday afternoon when I'm hanging out with my daughter. And hopefully she will get there, but she's still a bit too young for like painting miniatures. But yeah, I think I've finally started to realise, Foz, that like, well, I haven't bought anything new in a while that's not Blood Angels. You know, even if something cool came out for like one of the other armies or one of the other games I collect, I just haven't bought it anymore. Because something came up like that where it was like, yeah, like probably my favourite board game of all time is Imperial Assault. I don't know if you guys have played Imperial Assault, but it's a Star Wars game where you just play as the rebels. You pick a no-named rebel, not like a Luke Skywalker, like a no-named rebel. Like you make up your character. It's almost like D&D Light. It's like my favourite board game from when I was younger. And I realised that like I hadn't played it since before the pandemic. And the pandemic, I was trying to think when the hell was the pandemic. Well, the pandemic was like February, March 2020, right? So if you're thinking like 6 months time, it'll be 4 years since the pandemic, and I've never played the game again. So I'm just sort of like starting to be a realist, I guess, or realising that like, I think that's why I started commissioning a few things for my Blood Angels. Yeah, March 2020, you're right. Sorry, I think I got confused with... I think in Scotland we were in lockdown by like the middle of February, but things were really starting to kick off towards March 2020. But yeah, so I think I was just sort of realising that like... You know, it's that whole thing where like your eye is... You know when you go to a restaurant and you order that extra side, and then the side comes, you think, shit, I didn't need that side at all because I'm absolutely full with what I had from my main course. So it's the same now. So I mean, like I did a couple of commissions for my Blood Angels to try and get through my Blood Angels, and I probably still will do the odd more commission to try and get more Blood Angel stuff painted. But like, I'm not sure that. Yeah, if I want to make YouTube videos every week, which I do want to make every week because that's kind of what's built this community, and that's kind of what a lot of people expect. You know, like a lot of people are members of the channel because they expect a video each week that will help them do better with Blood Angels, or at least they expect some sort of Blood Angels content they can watch weekly. If I want to do that, then I have to be realistic that there's a lot of projects that I can't do, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I just need you guys to understand that, like, if you think to yourself, like, oh, John, you're never doing your other projects. Well, if I do my other projects, I won't get a weekly video out every Friday. And my channel's 3 years old now. I think I've only missed one Friday. And I try and make sure that the stuff that goes out on Friday is pretty good quality as well. Like, I know it's not always good quality. I'm sure, like... But that's the thing with YouTube, right? Like, I've spent some weeks, 100, maybe not 100 hours. Let's say I've spent like 30 hours making a video I'm convinced would do really well, and nobody's watched it. It's had like 700 views, did nothing. Like, okay, and then other weeks I've had to rush something out because I do have a life and stuff, and hey, my kids are had a cold or something, or my wife was out that week, and I've had to rush something out in half the time, and it's done really well. And I've been like, oh, I was convinced this week's YouTube video was going to be shit. I've only had 1 or 2 nights to work on it this week or something, right? But it's like, I'd have to stop making the YouTube videos to do my other projects. And I'm not going to stop making the YouTube videos. So that's Kevin, you're here for the vibes. Kevin, I appreciate that. One sec, that's my daughter. She's got the cold at the moment, so I might need to go settle her again. No, we might be good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go settle her. Sorry, one sec. All right. Let's just say I'm making some progress tonight. I'm feeling good about this. Gotta say, I'm gonna have to go and get her a drink of water or something. She's just not. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry. Alright. Third time's a charm, I think, maybe. Hey. But yeah, no, it's so I want to do that other army Voz, my 1,000 Suns, because I do have like 1,000 points, 1,000 Suns. I'm just gonna have to commission it. Which I still might do, I suppose. Getting fired into the new edition, though, is like... So I guess there's just a lot to take in with the new edition, and it was like, I thought I might want to do some Blood Angels commissions. I might still want to do some Blood Angels commissions based on like if we get a lot of new units and there's a lot of new stuff that we need to be running in the army list, because I don't know how quickly I can paint, like, if I had to paint like 30 more Sangre Guard because my current ones are rubbish. Or my current ones are no longer viable, right? Like, or something. Like, there's a new Blood Angels jump unit. Maybe we get a new Blood Angels jump unit. Or we get Primaris Sangre Guard. They have new weapon options. I don't know. So I hadn't... Yeah. I mean, maybe the way I should do it is just slowly stock up that 1,000 Sun stuff to 2,000 points, and then eventually go round to just commission the whole bloody thing. Thing is, that's a big job for someone, right? Like, if you just said, like, hey, here's 2,000 points of stuff, paint it for me. Well, one is a big job because they would have to figure out how to quote such a big job, which wouldn't be easy, but the other thing would be, like, I did actually get Mike to paint all that terrain for me. So speaking to Kev about that the other day, we did commission, like just at the end of last edition, we commissioned the whole of the boarding action set. So we have a whole boarding action set, a board, all the terrain, everything commissioned. Like, it's all painted, we've got it all back, it's all ready to go. We just haven't used it yet. But I guess because it's the new edition, everyone's been excited to play 40k, no one's really been playing boarding actions. Maybe we'll get a boarding actions campaign. Like, I still want to get a boarding actions campaign on the channel. I do want to do that. I feel like as soon as I friggin' hurry up and win a tournament, like a 30-some player GT, and I can make a video where I was like, I've won the 30-player GT. Look, I know something about Blood Angels. Then we'll start a narrative campaign. Boarding actions, and we'll get a few people involved. I actually don't know if you can play like 4-player boarding actions. I know in Kill Team you can play multiple people. You don't Kill Team games, at least when I played it in a couple of years back, you could play with like 3 or 4 players on the map at the same time, right? You just like had various, you just did turnabout or something. Kill Team's like alternative activations, isn't it? But I don't know if it still is. Does Mike paint blue? I mean, his studio's called Paint It Red. I think when I talked to him about the 1,000 Suns, he was interested in doing the commission, yeah. And Mike's really like, see if you find a commission guy who's reliable and gets you stuff on time, I feel like you should use him for as many jobs as you can, because I've struggled with various commissions, and sometimes I'm my own worst enemy. Like, if you make a giant commission, you can almost burn your commission painter out in some senses, maybe. Mike's been really good. Mike's doing a Thunderhawk for someone at the moment as well. I'm pretty excited with the auto-hitting assault las cannons at strength 13 with +1 to wound for 1 CP. Is the auto-hitting because you're attaching that character to do the change 1 hit into a 6, or is it another reason that you're auto-hitting? Jim. You're talking about the Firestorm detachment, right? I'm pretty excited about the Space Marine book in general, even if you know, even if we don't get to play necessarily as like a fully jump melee faction for a little while, you you know, they do say like variety is the spice of life. Like, and I've always liked running Blood Angels with some tanks and stuff like that. I always used to do that. I always used to run Dreadnoughts, you know. When I very first started the Blood Angels channel, I used to always run a Leviathan and a Judici, and that was when the Judici had the 6-inch fight last aura, and I basically just had the Judici sit on the Leviathan's butt for the entire game, and basically said like nothing can charge my Leviathan without fighting last. Because Leviathans are pretty darn nasty in combat, and I'd played against Andrew and his Sisters of Battle so many times, and he kept messing me up with stupid Repentia. Repentia are the bane of Space Marines' life with their like their eviscerators used to be like -4 in that bloody Rose detachment. One time he went to charge my Leviathan, I opened up on him with both double heavy flamer and killed like half of the Repentia. The Repentia made it into combat, and then I just used the Judici to make them fight last, and basically the Leviathan killed like 4 more Repentia. So a squad of 7 Repentia just got eaten alive, like he just lost 7 of them or something ridiculous from the Leviathan before he actually got to attack after making his charge. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And Andrew was like looking at me like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I've had it with Repentia. I built something that just counters the hell out of them. Repentia are just, at least last edition, they're all just so nasty into Marines. What happened to boarding party? You cannot pick up the terrain? I don't know what happened to it. Well, I'm glad I picked up a copy of it. Did it just go out of stock or something? Turn 1 you can make 2 rolls of 6 to hit with enhancement and the cherub. Oh right, okay. You need to get a coaching service ready. I mean, I think there's other places that do coaching that probably, like, I don't think I could compete with Vanguard Tactics, honestly. If you want coaching, I feel like Vanguard Tactics is probably where you want to go. You could do me a solid and say that you came here from my recommendation. That would be nice. But I think if you do want Warhammer coaching, I think probably the place to go is Vanguard Tactics. I've only had a few interactions with them, but the guys from Vanguard Tactics all seem very, very... I was going to say friendly, but that's not the right word. Like upstanding, like that's not the right word either. Oh yeah, this red paint is dead. Look at this. It's properly dead in there. Turn it upside down. These damn Games Workshop lids. There's quite a lot of paint wasted in the bottom of that tub actually. Alright, Mephiston Red, that's going in the bin. Here we go. Oh, I got another one here anyway. Cool. I want a better whirlwind ability back that causes more of a pinning effect. Yeah, well, I mean, if it's not in the Space Marine Codex, Highland Phoenix, you're not getting it back for 3 years, right? Use that blue and make them Ultramarines instead. Look, you speak about Andrew and here he is. Speak of the devil. Hello, Andrew. People are talking about how good Iron Hands are going to be, so how many weeks... Well, I was already telling them about the Broken Hands, you know, how many weeks before Broken Hands need to come on and play Blood Angels Commander. What's going to make Iron Hands super strong, guys? Andrew's here in the chat, tell him. I was reminding them of the list you built, Andrew, that had like 70 something Melta shots per turn for Iron Hands. It was like 3 squads of... I think it was ridiculous actually. I think it was like 3 squads of Eradicators and 3 squads of Devastators. And then honestly I think it was like dreadnoughts with multi-meltas, or maybe it was Leviathan dreadnoughts. I don't exactly remember, but I remember it having just an obscene amount of melta fire. Absolutely obscene how much it had. 3 Tech Marines. Did it have 3 Tech Marines? I mean, it's probably like 5 years ago we played that list. The strats are so in Ironstorm, but the Tech Marine enhancements are nice. What does a Tech Marine do? I honestly haven't seen the Ironstorm stuff at all. I'm gonna see it on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, Melta is not good unless you have ways to give it plus strength, which is why the Firestorm detachment's gonna be good. So I know you haven't read much about it at all, Andrew, but there's a detachment that basically says if you're within 12 inches, all your ranged weaponry gets +1 strength, and the other part of the detachment is every ranged weapon in your detachment gets the assault ability. So basically what it means is every single unit, not just tanks, every single unit can advance and shoot because everything has assault. If you're within 12 inches, you also get +1 on your strength. So like, you could deep strike your Eradicators 9 inches away and they would be strength 10 Eradicators. You could deep strike your Valiants away 9 inches away and they would be, I think the Valiant, correct me if I'm wrong, I was going to say the Valiant, can I put this in here while it's open? It's been a while since I looked at the Gladiator Valiant. I know it's multi-melter strength 10 currently. Does Valiant just have 1L? Yes, apparently. Alright, so it's Twin Blast Colin is strength 10 as well. Okay, so I mean, if you bring that in, it would be strength 11 on both weaponry. So I mean, that starts to potentially hit breakpoints, right? So like, if you're fighting against toughness 10 enemies, then you're bringing them in with +1 strength. You're starting to wound on 3s and stuff. And then the other thing about that detachment is if you end up within 6 inches of the enemy, you can get +1 to wound and shooting. So I guess like if your Eradicators did end up within 6, they would get +1 to wound. So they could have a strength 10 with +1 to wound. Certainly makes the Melta more interesting if you can push it over those breakpoints, I guess. I'm not sure. I was going to say, they have some other cool stuff in that detachment, but the Valiant's multi-melta got fixed to strength 9 like other Melta? No way, DTM. God damn it. You have waited. I've been streaming for like 2 hours. 2 hours, 16 minutes. We haven't heard a peep out of DTM. I make one mistake about the rules, and it's like, he's like, his phone's set up to send him a push notification when I make a mistake. So he's like doing something else, minding his own business, and his phone vibrated and was like, John said this weapon's got the wrong strength on it. Here's DTM just to take me down a notch too. How are you, by the way, DTM? Good evening. Your hands have been full, no worries. Do they get doctrines? No, only the Gladius detachment get doctrines. But I mean, assault on every single weapon, ranged weapon, seems pretty good, and being able to get the extra strength within 12 inches seems pretty good as well. So it's almost like a detachment where you just are rewarded for getting in your opponent's face with armor and stuff. I think it could be good for some of the dreadnoughts, like I think the Redemptor dreadnought. Because I think the Redemptor dreadnought at the moment is rubbish, because it's strength 9, but if you make its main gun strength 10, then I think it starts to get interesting. I don't know, I think the Firestorm detachment, I honestly think we'll see some people win tournaments with the Firestorm detachment. I'm kind of convinced. I think there's going to be plays there that we aren't fully seeing yet. And there's a bunch of shenanigans with transports in that detachment. It's got the same strategy, or the same, you were on radio mode, no worries. It's got the same thing that the Sisters have, right? You remember the Sisters had that thing where, like, when they disembark the transport, they get +1 to hit or something. Or maybe in the Sister, it was when they disembark the transport, they get rerolls to wound or something. I don't know. But there's a strat that basically says, like, if you disembark a transport, you get bonuses to your hit rolls. So you'd want to be disembarking near the enemy, and then you get the extra strength, and then you can potentially get +1 to wound, and then you get bonuses to your hit rolls. So there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot that can be done with that detachment. I think we'll see a bunch of people play it. I think we'll see more people play it. Like, I think the changes they've made to the Marine detachments where you don't need to paint your Marines a specific colour will help, right? Because I think more people will play it because they don't have to paint their Marines a specific colour, which I think is probably a good thing. You need more transports to benefit from the Firestorm strats. You do need some transports, but hey, Land Raiders are great, and hey, Land Raiders are going to be really good. Like, the Flamestorm cannons on those Redeemers are already strength 6. So the second you get within Redeemer range, which is 12 inches, then they go up to strength 7, -2 damage. And if you get within 6, you can go +1 to wound. And like I said, there's a bunch of ways to get more movement and stuff from their stratagems. I think it's good. Iron Hands detachment looks pretty strong. That playstyle seems rather boring to me. I haven't seen the Iron Hands detachment. I was going to say, what's like the main staple of the Iron Hands detachment? I'm trying to think. Like, I know last edition, or maybe it was 8th edition, Iron Hands, they used to have, like, their vehicles work at double profile. They had reroll 1s on heavy. So I imagine the Iron Hands detachment is giving all their vehicles heavy or something, right? Like, is that how it's working? Sorry, not all their vehicles heavy. Every ranged weapon becomes heavy or something, right? That's kind of what I think I would expect, I guess. How do you guys know? Do you guys just know from watching other people reveal the rules, basically? I watched a few videos on rules reveals, but some of the detachments I found it, like I was Googling, I think it was last night, to try and find out more about the Vanguard detachment. I couldn't find all the information. It's reroll 1 hit or wound or damage per activation. So it benefits like big heavy vehicles, I guess, DTM, where you could like if you have a repulsor or executioner and you've got a heavy laser cannon, you could reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 damage from the heavy laser cannon, which is d6 + 4. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really good. Benefits bigger, stronger units more, I would wager. But, I mean, per activation means also including melee, so it could actually benefit Dreadnoughts significantly too. Just because, I guess, when Dreadnoughts are in melee, Dreadnoughts usually do quite a lot of killing on normal targets if you're rerolling hits and damage. And I guess the new Dreadnoughts all have like d6 + 3 damage, so being able to reroll that would be kind of useful as well, I guess, right? The Imperial Fist one grants heavy. I did watch some of Auspex stuff this week, honestly. But you know, I haven't seen it all. I figure I'll be able to be excited on Saturday, and I'll be able to figure out some. You know, when you read the new codex for the first time and you have those like epiphany type moments, hopefully I'll have a couple of them and I'll be like, ooh, we'll be able to use this. I think it'll be good. I'm excited for the new codex. Still not sure on the jump intercessors. So I'm excited for the new captain. I'm excited for the new codex. The jury's out on the jump intercessors. 85 points. I suppose 85 points seem pretty cheap if that's what a squad of intercessors cost. So what's better, a couple of mortal wounds on the charge and being mobile, or sticky objectives? It's a tough question, isn't it? Sticky objectives are very good. A Tech Marine enhancement gives an aura of lethal hits for everything within 6. Could be cool with like an armor heavy list protecting the Tech Marine, that's for sure. Tech Marines are lone operatives as well when they're within 3 inches of a vehicle, and they get a big bonus to the number of attacks if a vehicle dies next to them. So yeah, I mean, I guess there's quite some nice synergy in the fact that like you just have a Tech Marine flanked by some big nasty tanks and or dreadnoughts. Simple but boring. I think it was it Kevin that said it was boring? Someone said it was boring. Yeah, simple but boring. Yeah, Kevin said it was boring. Get the codex on Saturday, have a game on Sunday against a Turned player. I beat when its codex came out, and I've lost my beloved land speeder. Yeah, I mean, I guess this will be the first time we've lost land speeders, right? If you were using the land speeder to get the additional +1 to hit, maybe you need to think about taking incursors, because they provide the same bonus, I think, and I think incursors are pretty good at providing that bonus. Like, it's very reliable. The land speeder was arguably almost too reliable, but I think the incursors are good, right? I think I'm running incursors in my tournament list. I think they're strong enough to justify. I like how you can use a mine offensively as well. I'm really pleased about that. I mean, I guess it potentially doesn't make all that much sense in the lore that you've got this mine and you just need to attack a tank. So what, you just stick the mine to the tank and set it off? But hey, what works, I guess, right? I'm glad that they've given the mine a little bit of, like, love in that sense. 85 points is cheap for the Jump Marines. Yeah, maybe that's why people will run them, because they're so cheap, right? What's Thousand Suns win rate at the moment, though? Are they? I mean, I heard like maybe a few weeks ago, Thousand Suns were in a pretty good position. Are they still good? I can't imagine anything changed with their. Yeah, I can't imagine anything changed that really like messed with their win rate, right? It's the anti-tank mine from the Dawn of War intro. Dude, I don't know how many years it has been since I watched the intro to Dawn of War. Like 20, maybe? I thought the intro to Dawn of War had Necrons in it, or was that one of the expansions? Oh yeah, maybe the first one was Orcs, was it? And then they had I think it was Soulstorm. Maybe one of the ones I'm remembering is when they had the Dawn of War Soulstorm. The first one had the orcs, yeah, because there was a guy trying to... It was the Blood Ravens, wasn't it? Trying to put the banner up and the orcs were all around him and it was... He was getting killed by the orcs or whatever. Alright, I'm gonna do some texture paint. Oh, excuse me. Then I'm gonna go to bed. I would like to get a little bit more done tonight, but hey. We'll keep plugging away, I guess. Dark Crusade had the Necron. So what the hell was Soulstorm then, and why am I thinking of Soulstorm? Dark Crusade must have been... I think Dark Crusade might have been the Game of the Year edition, because I had a box, like a good old physical box, when video games were cool and they came in boxes. Sure, I had the box for... I remember the Necron one and all the Necrons coming out of the ground. So I feel like that must have been the one that I had. Soulstorm had Dark Elder, then I'm probably just confused because it's been so many years, I guess. So you need a crap load of texture paint for these base sizes, don't you? No, I never actually played the second Dawn of War. I think I bought it like maybe multiple times, like on the Steam sale or something. So I think at some point I really want to go back and play the second Dawn of War. I want to go back and finish Chaos Gate as well, because I actually really liked Chaos Gate. I thought that was one of the best 40k games I've played, possibly. I guess ever. Trying to think if there's a... I like the bolt gun game, but I think Chaos Gate is more my jam. Like, bolt gun was cool. I did like the music. I actually only played bolt gun like that one time when I played it on the stream when it was brand new. So yeah, once we get to like Christmas holidays from work, I'll play like a lot more games on stream, I guess. Or maybe even at like the first week or two after I go to this GT, I'll play a couple more games. But no, I like Chaos Gate. I liked Bolt Gun a lot. I never played Dawn of War 2. I always liked... I mean, I guess I saw Kev play it actually. At that point, I don't know if you guys know who Kev is, who comes on the channel sometimes. I lived with Kev for like 6 months, maybe a year or something. Like we were roommates. Well, not roommates, like housemates, I guess. We had our own rooms and stuff. But yeah, no, he played Dawn of War 2 quite a bit, so I watched him play it quite a bit. I never actually played it myself. It wasn't as much base building as more like strategic control, I believe. But I actually kind of like those sort of strategic control of games as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be base building for me to enjoy it. Evening, Mike. Loads of people have been asking about you tonight, Mike. Asking if you paint blue. Somebody was asking if you paint blue for a commission. How's the Thunderhawk going, dude? I've seen some pictures of your like Thunderhawk, I think, in the Discord and on Twitter, and I'm like, man, I'm not jealous of you painting that Thunderhawk. You've been doing that for ages. Well, maybe not ages, but it feels like you've definitely been doing it for a while. Do you regret taking all that? Tell me, is painting a Thunderhawk for someone else better or worse than doing the boarding actions terrain that you did for me last, was it, I don't know if it was last year, earlier this year, started in July. You play non-40k video games because I have one or two you enjoy. Yeah, I actually have a non-40k video game YouTube channel. DTM. I mainly play strategy games on it, which would figure because literally what I do for fun is play Warhammer, which is strategy, right? So, I play strategy games, but I don't really play, like, I'm talking like one, let's say 1 or 2 hours a week. I don't play a lot of video games. I'm more likely to like play a video game on like a PlayStation 5 while I'm watching my kids than like come up to my desk and like play strategy games. But no, I do play a couple of strategy games here and there. Strategy's always been my jam. Like when I didn't play Warhammer, like when I was a student and I wasn't playing Warhammer, I played a lot of Warcraft. Not like World of Warcraft, like actual Warcraft, like humans versus orcs. Like build units, build troops. Still like Warcraft actually. Like Warcraft 3 is, I would say Warcraft 3 might be my favourite video game all time. But it's a mess at the moment because they tried to remaster it a few years back and they never really committed to the remaster, so the game's just a disaster. Evening, Dwayne. What's happening? JT Money asking about if that's my daughter again. Those OG Warcraft RTSs were so good, says Jim. Yeah, I mean, Warcraft 3 I think was the best. I think I played the first one, like Warcraft Humans versus Orc, on like an actual Macintosh, like in the 90s. Like an Apple II or something like that. I think that was my first time playing Warcraft. No, I was really sad what they did with Warcraft 3 because I bought the remastered StarCraft. It was pretty decent, but the remastered Warcraft was a disaster. You get texture paint everywhere doing these big giant dreadnought bases. If you get a free weekend, I'd heartily recommend the game Darkest Dungeon. It's one of my favourites. I was going to say, I might have that one from... Would that one have been on Good Old Games? I feel like I might have had that one. There's like a 2D... Or maybe that's Darkest Dungeon. Oh no, you did say Darkest Dungeon. It's like a 2D thing where you make a party of dungeon dwellers, or is that something else? I just picked up that new Alien game, Alien Dark Descent, which is like a weird genre of game, but it's a strategy game. Yeah, no, strategy is my jam. Like obviously, I think I probably got my love of video game strategy games from Warhammer. So if I would say there's one game type I'm good at, it's strategy. Did I ever play RuneScape? I know of RuneScape, I never really played it. I mean, I've definitely seen people play RuneScape. Yeah, so I think I have that Darkest Dungeon. I never got into it, but I can give it another try. I'm just absolutely clarting this thing in texture paint. I don't know how much I need. Probably not too much more. It's always hard to know with the texture paint because you have to sort of wait for it to dry to get a feel of what it looks like, and it always feels like it doesn't, as long as you get decent-ish coverage, it doesn't 100% matter. Like, I feel like with texture paint, it's supposed to look like abstract, it's supposed to look so. Yeah, I only played the first level of Alien Dark Descent. If you like strategy games, that seems very cool. But yeah, I'm really bad for like buying a game, playing the first level or first few levels, and then not finishing it. The Chaos Gate game is probably one of the games I've put the most time into. I really like Chaos Gate. Like it's really like XCOM. If you like XCOM, you probably would like Chaos Gate. But yeah, I just need to commit and find some time to do it. The thing is, like, every time I want to go play a video game, I usually end up making a YouTube video because I've got an idea. And then it's the same as my other projects. I always detriment my other projects to make YouTube videos. Hey, it means I get a lot of content out on YouTube, right? Space Crusade. I remember the original Space Crusade. That was a game, Smithy. Yeah, I like the original Hero Quest as well. I think I had Hero Quest on the Atari ST or the Amiga 500. I had an ST, but one of my friends that lived just 5 minutes down the road had an Amiga 500, and we played loads of those sort of games. Alright, I think that's good. Right, we've got a couple more guys to do. Just finished a layer of texture paint on my Dread Brother. Yeah, me too, dude. It is satisfying when you get that texture paint layer on, isn't it? Just wait an hour or 2 hours for it to dry, I guess. Hit the combination of RPG and strategy just right. Which game hit the combination? I think my first game is Ogre Battle 64. Do you know what? My brother had an N64, but we never had Ogre Battle 64. We were more of GoldenEye type people. I honestly don't remember any. Oh, maybe like Mario 64. I was going to say I don't remember any other game we had for that N64. All we played was bloody GoldenEye. I don't even know if GoldenEye by this day and age is standard. GoldenEye had a banging soundtrack, I'll give it that. I suppose it was probably an FPS that was a bit ahead of its time, maybe. Did you play the old Rights of War 40k game? No, but do you know what? An old Warhammer game I did play with Andrew actually was Shadow of the Horned Rat. I don't know if you ever played that game. That was a friggin' nuts hard strategy game. Me and Andrew played that game so many times. We got hung up on like level 3 like a million times. Don't even know what year that would have been. Shadow of the Horned Rat, early 90s maybe. I think that would have been on a very, very early PC, like a 486 maybe or something. GoldenEye was amazing, says Smithy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it... There was apparently a rumor that they were like remastering it. That would have been cool. But then everybody just wants to remaster a Dawn of War as well, right? Because like they've released a few Dawn of Wars now that haven't really hit the mark. Like I think Dawn of War 3 wasn't particularly well received. And people have just said like they just want a remaster of the first Dawn of War. So, but here's the thing: when they do these remasters, it's the same as like the Warcraft 3 remaster, I guess. They need to be very true to the original source material, because when they start changing things, because that's what they did with the Warcraft 3 one, they changed a bunch of stuff. And they change a bunch of stuff, and then people are like, but that's not really a remaster at that point. That's like... And then it just want... People that came for the remaster won't stay because they're just going to rather play the original game. So I think doing those remasters is honestly pretty tricky. For who, you know, for whoever's doing them, the studios, whatever. I still have a working N64, says Jim. We've got a couple of working PlayStation 2s downstairs, Jim. It's kind of funny that they're still working, but they are. I don't know how they are still working. They were in our garage for so many years. Me and my wife both had a PlayStation 2. Somehow both of them, last time we checked, both of them are still working. Our Xbox 360 died, though, because I picked up like a game for my 2-year-old to play on the Kinect. And then it was like, I went and plugged in the Xbox and it was dead. I was like, God damn it. I was going to try and paint a bit of this biologist tonight, but kind of run out of time, so just get some text. He's barely got any base to put texture paint on, though, right? Because he's like he's on a tactical rock. Well, at least I've got. I was going to say, by the time by getting the texture paint onto all these guys, it basically means that when I'm ready to go to this tournament next month, like at this point, I can be battle ready just by painting like a couple more colors onto this guy, because everybody has their base done. It's not the perfect base, but it's done. Chaos Gate was a great game. Yeah, I'm like 15-20 hours into my save on Chaos Gate. I was just building up my squad. I was getting on pretty well. I just need to get back to it, Dwayne. Yeah, SimCity was good as well, but Sim 5 was my jam, and a big fan of Faster Than Light, which is kind of strategy. You know what? I saw a lot about Faster Than Light, and I never played it. Yeah, I was going to say the games that I've been playing the most recently. I played the new God of War games, both of them. I enjoyed those. Play a bit of FIFA or Football Club, whatever it's called now. And then I've been playing a bit of that Aliens game and a bit of Warcraft 3, but yeah, I guess there's weeks where I just don't really do very much gaming at all. It really just comes down to how. For me, it comes down to the kids, man. The kids are being difficult, then I just don't do any gaming, I guess. That's why usually my Wednesday night streams are like my one night of the week where I go gaming. But you know what? It's fine to miss the odd Wednesday night as well, because like I said, it means I can be here to help my wife out at home, and I need to get these guys ready, because I don't really know what my list is going to be for this tournament yet. I feel like it's going to be a Gladius list. I feel like it's going to be similar to what I've been running with the fire discipline. Devastator Doctrine aggressor shenanigans. But yeah, sometimes it's. I mean, like, I guess sometimes when you're going to a GT, you don't really know your list until a week or so before it. So I guess that's where I'm at. And especially with the new codex coming out, it kind of makes it difficult to be like, yes, this is going to be my list, because there might be a small, because there's the new codex coming out, they might do some sort of small balance patch, right? They usually do that, right? Hadn't even thought about that actually, now that I mention it. If they do some sort of like, did they do an FAQ to the NID codex? Like, was there an FAQ after the NID codex? I was gonna say they could nerf bolt or discipline on us, couldn't they, or fire discipline? The FAQ for NIDS came today. Oof. How long ago did their codex come out? I feel like it was at least... I was gonna say it. Yeah, when did their codex come out? Just the points. Oh yeah, because they did say that they were going to try and do like less FAQs and rules and just change points. Oh, I mean, they could put Bolt or Discipline up 10 more points or something. I wonder at what point they stop putting it up in points, because they think they make it that nobody can take stuff. But they kind of already proved that they're willing to put stuff up to a point where no one will take it, because they said they didn't want to put points up to a point where no one would take it, and then they did exactly that with the Desolation Marines, right? Because I feel like, I mean, maybe someone's still taking Desolation Marines. I feel like there's no chance in hell I'm running Desolation Marines. 200 points for 5 Marines and power armor? Are you joking me? So maybe they'll just be like, oh, we'll put Bolt or Discipline up like 10 more points, or even 20 more points. They'll really try and stop people taking it, maybe. But then what's the point in making the models or the units if they're just going to try and price them to a point where no one takes them? I guess at that point there is no point making them, right? The FAQ was today, yeah, so that sounds like the FAQ could come out like 1 or 2 weeks before my tournament. That's not ideal. You have to change your list last minute. Ugh. Yuck. Oh well, if it happens, I guess. Not much you can do about it, right? Alright, I am gonna go downstairs and wash some brushes, I think, in a second, and then go to bed. Guys, it's been a long stream tonight, has it? Yeah, coming up on 3 hours. So say, do I feel like I've accomplished 3 hours worth of stuff? I don't know. Accomplished something. I want to try and get some of the texture paint off this guy's cloak, because sometimes when you put texture paint on like this, you can end up with it. There we go. That's a good way to get it off the cloak. We got a new video coming on Friday, and then this weekend we're going to have to play it by ear a little bit, because like I said, my wife's out, but I'll try and be live at least once this weekend. I definitely want to be live to talk about the best Sun. Well, I've got 2 videos to make. I've got the Sons of Sanguinius one that's going to focus on the best Sons of Sanguinius army that I can find at the moment, from like looking at BCP and tournament scores and stuff like that. And then I've got, I guess, I guess we'll do a stream about the new points, or maybe not about the new points. Maybe just do a stream about the new codex, the codex from a Blood Angel's point of view or something. Got that to make as well, I guess. I think it would be fair if they were sitting with a high win rate, but I doubt it. Yeah, you're probably right, actually, because Space Marines aren't sitting with a high win rate. If we're sitting with a 46% win rate, it'll be strange if they go very aggressively on nerfing things, right? So yeah, maybe I don't need to worry about that. Maybe I just need to keep worrying about what I'm doing. Thank you for the stream. You're more than welcome, dude. Thank you for hanging out. If you guys don't hang out, there's not really a stream, right? It's 2% below average. I thought it was 46% for Marines right now. Which is, would be... But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think StatCheck shared some numbers today, sorry, so maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Whereas the StatCheck numbers are probably not the GW numbers. If you haven't checked out StatCheck, they're like a channel that just talks about tournaments and stuff like that. I've played some of the guys that are on that StatCheck channel. Nice guys, so... some of them play out of like Stirling here in Scotland, so I need to get... I was going to say, I think I've only been to Stirling once, again, since the pandemic. I haven't been to barely any events since the pandemic. So I need to get back to going to more events. Give me a year or so, it'll happen. Alright, we got a bit of progress done tonight, guys. 48% is average because draws can happen. Oh, is it? Huh, you learn something every day. I think my daughter's up again. I think I'm going to have to go anyway, so... leave a like if you can on the stream. I'll catch you guys very soon. Appreciate you watching. Good night.